ability to, think of the world. I'm gonna be honest though, this channel rocks. I really, really like it. Now, one thing about Ken Lacour is that he asks the questions, like the questions. Literally those questions a lot of people find controversial, and in fact they're scared. They're scared. This guy's no coward, I'm telling you that much, and I appreciate a brave man. I appreciate him. But you know what else I appreciate? They absolutely hate him on Reddit. Kindled spirit. Okay, why? What are Redditors saying? What are Redditors saying about Ken Lacour? So someone on Reddit committed the unforgivable sin of praising the channel. They said, oh, but quote, I've been watching this channel. I really like his deep dives. Uh-oh. To which the Denisovans that inhabit Reddit said, his comments are full of nasty right-wing people. Uh-oh. I unsubbed and won't be looking back. Uh-oh. He's a right-wing Trojan. He's a right-wing Trojan horse masquerading as a centrist wannabe.
He has some chicken.
Are we going for the far? If we're going far right, I'm gonna have my entire audience subscribe to this guy. Are they accusing him of being far right? No, they didn't accuse him of being far right. Come on, they can't accuse someone this moderate to be a far right. Ken Lacour is a far right pundit to use base guy. Subscribe immediately. Support.
Got some penne. Got a couple.
I knew this guy was. I could tell there was something. I could tell there was some baseness in that eyes. In those glasses. I freaking knew it. Mr.
How much that cost you, dog?
I'm somewhat of a far right grifter myself. From an extremist far right grifter to another, I would like to say. Okay, look, I'm gonna drop the sarcasm for a moment. Unbelievable the stupidity of people who belong to these radical cults. So, just so we are clear,
must be nice coming from a rich family, dog.
That whatever he talks about on the videos are elaborately manipulated information that are there to make you think he's centrist, but in reality he's a far right guy who's trying to push tactically brainwashing to support all of the reality. I'm gonna tell you the reality. The reality is this. Lacour is a very moderate individual who simply has a very curious mind, an inquisitive talent, and is really good at doing research. And all he's doing, for everyone who accuses him of his bias, he's researching stuff that he's genuinely interested in. And that produces videos. Is he always right? No. Who the heck
Don't you miss that Epstein guy?
Ditch these damn tribalistic cultist behavior whereby whenever you say something that is not cult, radical left-wing cult approved, then immediately you have to be the most extreme far right. Shut it. Just shut it. This man is genuine as
they fucking killed him like they killed Jesus.
Let's pick a video, and in fact, I'm gonna choose one of the videos that I believe is gonna piss the same radical Redditors that were complaining about him the most. How about that? But seriously, go subscribe to them.
You think Mr. Epstein could have designed a better spine than God did?
I mean this one, 100%.
No. Because he would have only designed the spine for his body and not mine.
Marry their cousin? Why do so many Muslims marry their cousin?
Excellent
question. I have to admit that despite being
he wanted to clone himself, so I don't think he actually cared
about this until I recently read a statistic that said 55% of British Pakistanis marry their first cousins.
You know, I also didn't know to what extent this was common until I watched Andrew Wilson dismantle someone on a debate.
There are things that must be unsaid to remain sane.
But hey, it is. Let's see if he's gonna convey some
when are they gonna
see how the reality is.
Release the Epstein fire?
Marry their first cousins. As a Westerner, it's a baffling concept that at first I didn't believe. But when I researched it, I found out that hundreds of millions of people, mostly in Muslim countries, are married to their cousin.
Right.
In a number of countries.
Does Muslim countries include the UK? Asking for a friend?
Countries. It's the majority of all marriages. So this is married to their cousin.
When you went out, was it still hot?
It was humid.
Well, hot? Damn.
It's the majority of all marriages.
That is absolutely insane. Is it first cousin, second cousin? Because I mean, that also should be brought into the equation here.
So this is what I do here at Elephants in Rooms.
Yeah.
Take a question that makes some people raise their eyebrows,
Right.
research it, and give you a straightforward and fair answer.
Love the guy. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. So give us the data, thank you. You know, I actually truly believe that this guy is not going to try to push anything, but instead he's actually looking at the real evidence and interpreting it at with his best skills. That's what I think we are looking at. All right, let's go.
And it's never about yeah, because
fucking
people on this planet are fascinating animals.
Right.
Here, we'll first look at the global picture. Where is it legal or banned or popular? Then we'll answer the question, why not marry your cousin? Looking at stigma and health reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I got a few reasons in my mind.
I flip it around and then get into the question of why people do it. We'll focus on Pakistan. And then talk about what caused the split of Islam versus the world.
Okay.
Because there's a clear correlation with some twists.
Absolutely.
And finally, we'll take a quick look at how it really reshaped societies. Okay, so first of all, from a legal perspective, most countries don't ban marrying your cousin outright. The blue areas on this chart show that. So China does, South Korea and the Philippines, some countries in the Balkans, and a few others.
Yeah, I think in the West you don't need to do it because it's already culturally frowned upon.
The United States, it has a patchwork of laws.
Wow.
Legal in 18 states, restricted in a handful, and banned in the rest. Actually, 8 states criminalize marrying your first cousin instead of just denying a marriage license. And that's something that I couldn't find in any other country in the world. But even in states...
Yeah, criminal.
Dog, aren't you excited to go back to school? It's almost September, dog.
Yeah.
What classes are you taking, dog?
Don't know, dog.
Dog. You taking draw on, dog?
What?
Are you taking drama again, dog?
Nice.
What, dog? I'm just asking you a questione. If you don't fucking answer my question, dog, I'm gonna throw a brick through your fucking front window, dog.
Nice.
I'm gonna throw a brick in there and then I'm gonna start throwing bags of shit in there, dog. Then when you call the police, they're gonna say you should have left your keys at the front door.
Nice.
Oh, it's your
Non-Muslim
legal
countries-
obligation to leave your fucking keys at the front door. Otherwise, you can be charged. That'd be really funny. Fucking get robbed, but they find out you didn't leave your keys at the front door, so you get charged. Fucking amazing.
The main utility in you saying these things is for people not
incredible.
to believe you.
Holy fuck!
I'm
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Dog, you should get that that job at the mall. Play Santa Claus.
Nice, dude.
You can definitely pull it off.
So I'm not allowed to sit in my own garage.
Every time a fucking brown kid sits on your lap, you just fucking whisper in their ear, "Get the fuck out of my country." You know, you send them off. Start crying, give them a lump of coal so it gets work. It's your dream job, dog.
3 hours a day. So I'm not allowed to sit in my own garage with the door open.
No, nobody said that, Tom. You can sit in the garage. You just can't look.
Vehicle pads are currently open for business. Have a safe and pleasant stay.
Garages are for vehicles, tools, and storage. Relaxing, enjoying the evening belongs in the backyard.
There he is. 3 hours a day.
Well, Mr. Bondi, we got back your MRI, and it looks like everything is fine from first glance. I think you should just put some ice on it.
Nice.
Nerderotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million Trekkers and Trekkies and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. We are approaching the 60th anniversary of not only one of the greatest science fiction shows ever created, one of the greatest television shows ever created, Star Trek. September 8th to be exact. But instead of it being a celebration, it's a wake. But you have to give credit to Alex Kurtzman because he fumbled the 60th anniversary as well as he fumbled the 50th anniversary. And for the first time in over a decade, there is no new...
Oh.
Star Trek in production or even greenlit. And I can hear you now, dear viewer, there hasn't been any new Star Trek since Enterprise ended in 2005. The only exceptions, I would argue in my humble opinion, would be Picard Season 3 and 765874 Unification. I had no intention of making a Star Trek video at least until Starfleet Academy Season 2 aired, but I just returned from Star Trek Las Vegas. While it was a good time for me, generally it was a sad state of affairs. Sad as in pathetic.
You haven't
and
watched
sad as in
Deep
depressing.
Space Nine
Because it showed
or
me and
Enterprise
everybody
or
else
Voyager?
whether they are willing to admit it or not. What the
Say
absolute
it,
state
don't
of Star
spray
Trek
it,
is,
dog.
and
Oh.
there isn't one. There was one
Fuck.
particular panel I
Answer the
attended with
fucking question,
Disparu
Gecko.
that exemplified everything wrong
No.
with Star Trek, and it was called Politics in Star Trek, and it just so happens to
No,
be
as
the
in I haven't
inspiration
watched
for
it.
this video. Up front, this is a sad state of affairs that could have been easily avoided if anybody from the old or new regime at Paramount or even Alex Kurtzman
Yeah, have you
had
watched
done one
Event
simple
Horizon?
thing. Genuinely listen to
Fucking
the
faggot.
shows
This
that
fucking
have
gay
saved
faggot that
and
keeps telling me to
carried the
watch it
show,
out
but
of
it's
the fucking
as
paid
tale
for my
as
goddamn
old as
membership
it
to the
is.
goddamn
And
streaming
this
service.
is
Fucking watch
certainly
it.
applicable
Sky-
to the other two
Sky will
seminal science fiction
fucking, in a
franchises,
fucking
Star
moment's
Wars and
notice,
Doctor
buy a
Who.
fucking
It's a
PlayStation
Yeah, and I got my
4,
money
buy
back,
2
so-
fucking games, fucking
So I-
faggot.
I so I didn't actually
Why,
buy
why
it.
do I have to
Let's
pay?
briefly
Why do I have
go
to pay
over
for your
how
fucking
we
streaming
got here. How
service
did
if
such
you're
a
capable
groundbreaking
of just
series that has
going on a
stood the
whim
test
and
of
buying
time
a
for decades
fucking
fall on such
PlayStation
hard
4
times? This wasn't just
for
a
your
TV
fucking
show.
shitty
It
remakes,
was a part
but you
of
can't
people's
fucking
lives.
spend
It
a
was
little
the
money to watch the
inspiration
greatest
for people
movie
to
of all
go into
time?
science.
Because
To
it's
become
basically the
astronauts.
price of
It
a
was the
fucking one of
inspiration for
those
the
games,
iPad.
dude.
It was
Fuck
the
yourself.
inspiration of the smartphone.
I want Star
Nice.
Trek. Just give me Star Trek.
Unfortunately,
Guy
it didn't
spends
make
fucking
people smarter.
$40 on a fucking
Star Trek.
sandwich at Trey Rose,
Inspiration
dude.
for the iPad. It was the
Fucking
inspiration
spend
of the
it on a
smartphone.
I
fucking
want Star
movie.
Trek. Just give me Star Trek.
Unfortunately, it didn't make people smarter. It was the very definition of iconic, with iconic characters it was the first
Why are
series to
you
be
making
saved
me
by
go
the
insane,
fans.
dude?
It was the first series to have a
Why have you turned
media-specific
into
convention,
the
but it
Clown
also
World
inspired
Supreme
some things
Omega,
that
dude?
weren't so great, like
Well, you're the one
fan
that said to
fiction,
watch
which
it,
unfortunately
so.
includes the subgenre of fan fiction
Yeah,
slash
dude.
fiction,
You
which was
should.
just a perverted woman shipping cook and spot.
This
Another
fucking guy
unfortunate
wants to buy
byproduct
shitty
is
fucking
this
remakes,
fan fiction
dude.
slash fiction invented shipping and the Mary Sue.
Very bad poetry, Captain.
Why do you want to
And the great
fucking
irony is
spend your
the
money on
series ended
shitty
up
remakes,
becoming
dog?
fan fiction.
Tell me
It
that.
premiered and was
Just answer that
canceled
Well, it was a
question.
shitty remake
due to
when I
low
bought it.
ratings and a difficult Gene
No,
Roddenberry. In the
before I
70s,
bought
it
it,
became a
so.
ratings phenomenon in syndication. And while not a single episode of live-action Star Trek aired
Couldn't
in the
have
70s,
wanted to
you
buy
would
So you're
know
something
fucking
how much
insane.
it was referred to in pop culture.
Well, if they
You're
just
insane.
if they just released the same game
I love every
on
single
a console
one of
that
them,
isn't a
including
fucking
Star Trek,
faggot
the motion
fecal
picture,
matter
the
piece of
director's
shit,
cut, which
then
is amazing, and
it would've
Star
been
Trek
fine.
5. The movies were so successful, they ended up relaunching the show with The Next Generation, which spawned multiple series that were the tapestry of the 90s.
Why
and it
have you
lasted
done
for
this
almost
to me, sir? You have done this to me. I cannot forgive this, sir. It's over, dog. I'm sorry, but it's over. This man has gone insane, sir.
I'll tell you what, we really do have one hell of a show ahead of us today.
Welcome.
First
Please
off,
select an available
all
travel
hell
route.
is set to break out in the Middle East against
time,
the Iranian regime.
sir.
An attack that, frankly, could take place at literally any moment. Let's go ahead and get right into it. A lot is going on today. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe, folks. Take a look at this breaking news this morning. Iran's IRGC Navy, whatever the hell is left of it, is on maximum alert and currently monitoring every smallest detail, even online and on social media, per an Iranian source. This comes as President Trump has just made an unexpected visit to Camp David a few hours ago this morning. Secretary of State Marco Rubio went to
Wait, was it
US
raining when you went out?
CENTCOM headquarters in Florida
No,
on
but
Friday
when me and my
yesterday,
sister went to
and the
Vaughn, it
official
already
U.S.-Iran
rained
ceasefire or Memorandum of Understanding
So it's
is
done
set
raining.
to end on Monday, August 17th.
I guess it. Well, I don't think
What's
it rained
more,
here at all.
breaking
Did it?
news. Trump has just made a
Oh,
last-minute,
I'm looking outside, the
unexpected,
ground kinda looks
unplanned
wet,
visit
damp.
to Camp David aboard the
I
Marine
don't
One
feel any
VH-3
rain right now.
helicopter. Per flight tracking data. This comes as the White House
Vehicle
press
paths are
pool
currently open
has
for
been
business.
silent for over 14 hours, and multiple special air mission
Have a
flights
safe
took
and
off
pleasant
last
stay.
night, carrying cabinet members, senior staff, and other officials. The visit to Camp David here comes just 2 days before the official U.S.-Iran ceasefire Memorandum of Understanding expires on Monday, August 17th. Yesterday
How many
evening,
suits do you
President
own?
Trump said this while
one.
giving a speech. Take a listen.
And after we finish
And then my mom bought me
defeating
an overcoat
Iran,
kind of
which is
jacket,
being very badly
but
defeated.
just one suit.
Pretty soon I'll be declaring the
Dude, it's so nice wearing the suit in the winter because it's nice and smooth and comfortable, and then you have the cool air. Oh, it's so
That's
nice.
a big one.
Essentially, that's what we have. The blockade. No ships get through unless we want them to. But, and how about Venezuela? Venezuela was a one-day war. And now we work great with them. We've taken in millions and millions of barrels of oil. But we're doing really good. We're doing good in every way. You know, I built the military, and now I used it a little bit more than I wanted to, frankly, but that's okay, because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Do we agree?
Nope.
Can't let it.
He says 2 days before the Memorandum of Understanding is set to expire, this morning he went on an unplanned trip alongside the entire cabinet.
Yeah, can I be
Camp
honest with you right
David.
now?
sort of secret movements going on here. Trump says yesterday that pretty soon, by the end of this conflict,
for the past
the
4 years, I've
Hormuz
actually
is
had
going to
a
be
girlfriend.
U.S. territory. We're taking control of it. How do you think the Iranian regime is going to feel about that?
Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to believe what I just said?
Breaking news. Iran now believes a new round of fighting with the United States is unavoidable and has now decided to focus all efforts on preparing for battle.
Damn, dude.
Instead
Think
of
that low of me, dude?
diplomacy, per a senior Iranian source.
Well, I would say it's
in
0,
Tehran.
but then
Follow-up.
it's
Iran
logically
has
possible that
concluded
you have.
Diplomacy is dead.
It's not an impossibility.
The Iranian
it's
regime
just
believes a
an
new round of
unlikely-
fighting with the
massive
United States is now
unlikelihood.
unavoidable and is now shifting all efforts to
Sometimes
preparing
visits
a
me in my sleep.
comprehensive coordinated strike instead of wasting time on negotiations, per Iranian news outlets.
Which wouldn't happen to
And
have,
you know, in Iran, all of the news outlets are owned and operated
have
by the
a
IRGC.
set of golden
It's all
armor with
state-run media. The IRGC
red undercloth. What
is no longer
or
waiting
would she?
for a deal. It is preparing for war. Iran's military is right now, as of this morning, breaking news, Iran's military is on maximum alert. The
You
Strait
know,
of
it'd be
Hormuz
very
remains
useful. I
closed
think they made a movie about it with
and the
Mel
Iranian regime
Gibson,
is ready to strike
where he could just
US
only
and
hear
Israeli
women's thoughts.
targets
I think
in
that
a
would be
coordinated
extremely
large-scale
useful, man.
assault.
What women want.
If the ceasefire
Yeah, it'd be the
expires
most
Monday,
useful.
2 days from now, without an agreement. The shift is explicit. Iran is no longer
Did I
pursuing
mention
diplomacy at all.
on
Instead, it
Friday
is preparing for the next
when I went into the
phase
office, there was this
of the
new
conflict.
intern chick. It was like a black chick, and she had like
Things
one of
are
the best fucking
escalating, to
asses
say
I've
the
ever
least.
seen.
Trump says the Strait of Hormuz, well, it's going to be a U.S. territory going
I'm just like,
forward. It's
damn, dude,
ours.
like,
It is ours. The Iranian regime, they've
I
lost
can't
aside
even
diplomacy.
fucking
They're not even going to pretend
get that, dude,
to
and
be
I
diplomatic anymore.
gotta be made to
And we
watch
know
it
they've
while I
only
work.
ever been pretending. Now, they're just ready for all-out war. According to them, at least. Well,
She
so
was
is
like
the
wearing like
United
these
States.
tight
We got a
jeans, dude, and she was like
statement
bending
yesterday
over.
See how
from
that isn't
Scott
harassment,
Bessent,
dog?
who is our
Isn't that
Treasury
weird?
Secretary. He says, economic fury. Treasury Secretary Bessent says
Yeah,
the
like a hot
US
chick is gonna be a hot
to
chick
hit
regardless of what she wears, unless she wears like a fucking burqa or whatever. But
in history. He said that yesterday. Today,
just
the
damn.
White House page on X, the official page, said
I meant to concentrate with that in the room.
seen in history. Let's take a listen to the actual video statement here from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
And we went from epic fury to economic fury. And at the president's orders, we have raised the level even again. And watch this space for more announcements coming next week, because we are going to apply measures like have never been seen in the history of economic isolation on a country.
We are about to apply measures, tactics against the Iranian regime that have never before been seen in the history of economic isolation. Folks, we have already sanctioned the living hell out of Iran. I don't even know if there's anything left to sanction. Complete and total shutdown of the Hormuz, the U.S. naval blockade. They're calling it a wall made of steel. Nothing goes in or out without the United States say so. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to humble myself in front of all of you. I don't even
Dude,
know
how the
what
fuck
else
do
is
I
left
get to
in
this
Iran.
goddamn
We're
place,
talking about
dude?
shutting down the
My
Iranian
God.
economy. What else could we even do? Honestly, I
Did
can't
you not
tell
find
you.
that place yesterday?
Well, Bessent knows, and they're going to be implementing this
What are you
plan
talking
here in the
about?
next couple days. I'm on the edge of my seat just
Are
like
you
the
talking
rest
about
of you.
the place
Now,
in Star
President
Wars?
Trump posted this as a reminder.
Yeah.
Trump himself posted this 3
I
days
swear,
ago.
on
He
like
says,
the
the
previous
United
stream,
States has complete and total control
you were looking for it
over
in
the
the
Strait of
boundary, no?
Hormuz. He says, I think we will
No, it's
keep
on top
it.
of a fucking
He
mountain. and I
says,
don't know how to
our
get up
naval
there because you
blockade
can't
is
climb
being
the
called by
mountains in
everyone
this
a
game.
wall of steel, and there is nothing Iran can
I'll
do
go fly
about
up
it.
there.
They have no navy, they have no air force.
I can't
Their
have to take a
remaining
taxi
soldiers
to
are
wherever it is,
unpaid.
but
The
it doesn't say
IRGC
which
is
taxi I need to
decimated
take.
and fleeing, and their leadership is uncertain at best. They have no money. Their country is shot, so to speak. All they have is fake news.
So you can't just take any
and a
taxi and just like
300%
mark it on the
inflation
waypoint
rate,
or whatever.
and
But
getting worse.
No,
Update
taxis
as of
go to a
today,
specific
Trump said this 3
drop-off
days ago.
locations.
Today, that Iranian inflation rate is now 350%. little side note there, it's getting worse day by day. The economic conditions
Yeah,
inside
what,
of Iran
what
continue
time
to
is it?
unravel and deteriorate. Anyway,
10,
Trump
11.
goes on to say, Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East no longer. He says, praise be to Allah, mocking them, ridiculing them. President Donald J. Trump. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump mocking them.
I do not think
Making
2
fun
days
of
is
them.
enough
Now,
for a
speaking
weekend,
of the Trump administration's ongoing economic
especially if I
pressure
fucking sleep through the
on the
majority
Iranian
of it.
regime and the resulting skyrocketing inflation rates, and they are skyrocketing, I want to go ahead and say this again. We said this a couple days ago. There is some important historic context here that I want to get on the table just so everybody really understands how we said 350% inflation rate. Is that good? Is that bad? Is it a big deal? How big of a deal is that?
You have family that lives
Historic context.
in the
Back
other
in
provinces.
1795, France had an inflation rate of 60%. This ended up leading to the French Revolution.
Not that I know of.
Back in 1917, Russia had an inflation rate of 180%.
So they're all,
This
to your
ended up leading
knowledge,
to the collapse
like all
of
your
the
family,
Russian
you know,
imperial government.
they're all in Ontario.
In 1923, Germany had an inflation rate of, I kid you not,
I've heard of like different things
29,500%.
from my mom.
This, as you know, is one of the many things that ended up leading to the collapse of the Weimar Republic. And in 1949,
Do you have any family
China
in the States?
had an inflation rate of 10,000%.
Well,
good.
yeah, just
This,
my
of course,
mom's and
led to the collapse of the Chinese
she
nationalist
moved there,
government. So,
probably since I
yes,
was
when we were
alive.
talking about an inflation rate inside of Iran, 350%, going up 15 or 20% or more every single day. It was 300 3 days ago. Now it's 350% today. Yeah, to say the least, egregiously high inflation rates. Well, this is a very bad thing for the Iranian regime. A very destabilizing factor, to say the least. Remember how messed up our American economy got during the Joe Biden era, during the Biden regime? We saw inflation skyrocket up to 9%. Ideal is maybe 2.5%. That's what the Federal Reserve wants to see, 2.5%. During the Biden era, skyrocketed up to 9%. And you saw here in the United States how unaffordable just everything became. Okay, you thought 9% was bad? 350% inside of Iran right now, going up more every single day. Destabilizing factor. And now, this is exactly what the Iranian regime is forced to deal with because of President Trump's ongoing pressure campaign. And this pressure campaign is set to pick up in speed, ferocity, even more. Seems like that day is Monday, is when all hell is going to break loose. You know what? Hey, good luck to the Iranian regime here. Things are about to get increasingly difficult. Not too much less. President Trump continues to quote, folks, America. Ladies and gentlemen, there is our Iranian update today. We've talked about President Trump, the Trump administration's strategy here of sort of tightening the noose, so to speak. He is putting the Iranian regime on an increasingly tight leash. He's tightening up that collar, okay? It's getting tough. It is getting tough. We talked the other day about how desertion rates inside of the Iranian regime are similarly skyrocketing. And I'm not talking about everybody eating dessert. No. Desertion. What does that mean? The troops, the soldiers, the Iranian regime, the military, the IRGC diehard party loyalists, they are abandoning their posts. They're giving up. They're throwing down their weapons at increasingly higher rates. Okay? Imagine it's your job every single day to show up to work and man an IRGC checkpoint. And every single day, not only do you have to worry about an American bomb coming crashing down out of the sky, blowing you up. Yeah, that's a little bit concerning. But what's more on top of that, you're not even getting paid. You're not getting paid anymore. Okay? Are you going to keep on showing up to work and manning that IRGC checkpoint, making sure who's going in and who's going out? Yeah, probably not. You can't even afford food.
You still have that dog, which you call it Bo.
Yeah, it's getting tough.
Yeah.
Okay. Conditions inside of Iran are not looking good. And this is all part of Trump's economic strategy, folks. Do me a favor. Make sure to hit that
Did
like
you hear
button.
back
Make
from
sure
that
to
other girl?
subscribe. It really means a lot.
What,
Helps
the
a lot.
one
I
who's,
apologize. I was gone yesterday.
other dog
We're
is, and
back
she didn't say
today, ladies
anything?
and gentlemen. Full speed ahead. We had family
Sure.
in town.
Yeah.
Now the family's gone.
no.
We're back in the office every single day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for bearing
Yeah.
with me. I apologize profusely for not being here yesterday. We have another story here.
Like, the only time she fucking messages
Decent
me...
this messenger dog.
Huh?
I think you are probably...
I said it would just be decent of her just to at least
Now,
message
let me ask
back,
you a
say,
question.
I know,
Who
but
here-
she's
Not right
weird
now.
and she's
I
jealous.
think I already know the answer.
She doesn't
Who
fucking
here is a
message me
fan
unless she wants me to
of
look
the
after the dog.
cartels down in Latin America?
Why am I
You a
gonna
fan of the
fucking ask you
cartels?
how you
They've done a
are?
lot of
It's not
damage
like-
to the United States,
just-
to the American people.
Like, the only time she asks me how I'm doing is, which I don't even care, but the only time she asks me how I'm doing is when she wants me to look after her dog. That's like, then I ask how your dog's doing and you don't even reply.
Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of deaths inside of this country. And for a long time, our government, you know, this is before the Trump administration.
Like, she made
our
it clear that
government has just
we don't,
kinda
we're not like
turned a
friends or
blind eye.
anything.
What can you
We
do?
have
What can you
a
do?
strictly
Cartels
business
are gonna
relationship,
cartel.
and if she doesn't want to
Cartels,
fucking
they're just
talk,
gonna
then I'm not gonna
continue
fucking ask her how she
carteling.
is.
Well, Trump said we can do something about it, and they are, and we are doing something about it. Let's get into our next segment here, folks.
Like, if there's a fucking burning building and I only have one fucking
has just declared
one chance,
war on
I'm
the
not choosing her,
cartels.
bro. Like,
Seriously,
that's
now,
just how,
as
that's
some
how it
of you
is.
might remember, right around 4 months ago, we were all introduced to the Trump administration's brand new program called the Shield of Americas, a program designed by the Trump administration to develop
jealous,
partnerships
100%.
with countries all across Latin America, South America, to finally put an end to the cartels.
The relationship between her dog and me, or I.
That is exactly what is currently happening. Because
Do you think she gives
we
it
just
that
got
much thought?
some
I don't know, the way you
massive
described it kind of seems shallow.
Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth,
She's shallow
about his actions
towards,
now that the
I guess,
United
other
States
people, though,
military
if
is
it's
about to
concerning
embark
herself.
against these cartels.
Especially since it's
But
her
first
dog.
off,
I know I told you. One time when I was looking after him at her place, I was laying down on her couch when she got home. And since I just wanted to lay down, I just stayed there and watched the Leaf game for a little bit. And while she was there and talking to me, he was laying on my chest. And I could tell by the way she was looking at him that she was visibly annoyed. Because, like, usually the most excited time when you see your dog, is when you first come home. So if your dog isn't excited and saying hi to you, and doing that to someone that's already been there, like, I get it, but it's like, you don't fucking walk your dog, you let your dog get fat as shit, and it's like, what do you expect? Like, if I thought it wouldn't hurt my chances of getting to look after him more, or at all, I would say, like, yo, like, legit, you're basically killing your dog. With how overweight he is. He's not like visibly fucking stupid looking, but he is overweight and he's small. And he also stresses, so it's like she doesn't walk him, she feeds him too much.
What do you mean, he stresses? Was that?
Well, like he bites, he stress bites his feet. Okay, I don't know how to get to this fucking place, dude.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll be back.
Introduce you to this Shield of America's program, which is actually being led.
Dog, where'd you go? I assume you went for a walk.
Yeah, just walking on Kipling.
By an individual named Christy Nome. You probably recognize her. Take a listen.
Our objectives are going to be to destroy the cartels, to go after these narco-terrorists that are destroying our people, killing our children and our grandchildren. We're also going to keep our adversaries at bay. Those adversaries that wish to change our way of life and our values that are outside of our hemisphere, we want to ensure that we're continuing to keep them out of our hemisphere and focus on building alliances amongst ourselves and our strengths. We have worked and are proud of the Department of War with the conference that many of you just attended the last few days, and we'll continue to do that. We want our hemisphere
You still want to go to like trade school or some shit?
to be more sovereign and to be more prosperous, and looking forward to working with you on all of that. The first objective
If I
will
was
be
gonna go to
not
school, it'd
just
be
on
for that.
sovereignty, but also migration control, that we will work on economic
You know
prosperity.
what it would be,
We'll
like,
have
specifically?
and reverse these harmful foreign influences that have come into many of our businesses, our technologies. And we've seen
I've said to
infiltrate different areas of our way
my
of
dad
life.
if it was,
That will
I'd
be
probably
my
want to
objective
go
every day.
for
I will, when the press leaves, give you all my
being an
personal cell
electrician.
phone numbers so that you can reach me at any time that you may need something, and we'll work together to continue to make sure that our relationship is a shield to the Americas, that this will be a Western Hemisphere that is better, safer, more prosperous, and more free because of the leadership that all of you provide. So thank you to Secretary Rubio for hosting this and having the vision to bring us all together. I think this will be something that for years to come will bring more security to our nations.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is into your lawn, and your lawn is looking good, and you know it's only a matter of time. Well, same deal with South America up into North America. Trump administration now is going to war against the cartels, which have been destabilizing the southern half of the Western Hemisphere. So the video you just watched from Christy Nome was at the very first Shield of America's summit that was 4 months ago. Since then, over the last 4 months, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen some impeccable progress. Take a look at this. Trump's influence over Latin America is remaking the region, with his allies winning every single recent major election all across Latin America. Wow. Trump is rebuilding Latin America in the image of MAGA, in the image of America First. 19 countries have joined our counter-cartel coalition. The counter-cartel coalition is a part of the Shield of America program. We're going to be talking a lot about that here in just a moment. And 16 individual Latin American countries have agreed to third country deals under the Trump administration's deportation diplomacy effort. Folks, we are now able to expedite deportations back down to Latin America because of this work, this coalition building, and we're also taking out the cartels. And oh yeah, we are taking out the cartels. First off,
Have a safe and pleasant
you
stay.
can't help but notice something very curious. Everybody pay attention here. I hate to be the guy that has to say this. Let's talk about some Latin American elections since USAID got shut down. Since USAID got shut down in the middle of 2025, we had a right-wing election winner in Chile, in Bolivia, in Peru, in Ecuador, in Honduras, in Costa Rica. Isn't it so curious that now you are having right-wing, pro-America, pro-Trump, we say America First, in this case, South America First candidates, right-wing national populists, sweep every single election in Latin America following the shutdown of USAID. How curious is that? It's almost like there was some type of globalist program. Very curious. Let's talk about the cartels. The Department of War.
You know what I realized today? How absolutely retarded AI software is. So I was just trying to get, like, let's say like a cool Ventress splat like art, and have it like look more realistic through AI or things similar to that. Even though she was a main character in a show on Teletoon, it was too. It didn't pass the filter for Grok. Not only that, it asked me if I wanted Grok itself to give me a prompt that wouldn't get blocked by the filter. That still got blocked by the filter after I copied and pasted it. So they're kind of retarded.
Do that.
Very curious. Let's talk about the cartels. The Department of War has come out today. It says the America Counter Cartel Coalition, otherwise known as A3C, which is a part of the Shield of America's program, is moving toward a coordinated campaign against transnational criminal networks across the Western Hemisphere. During a recent two-day meeting in Panama involving 19 coalition members, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said the United States is committed to working with regional partners to dismantle drug cartels and counter what the Department of War describes as narco-terrorism. Well, that's what it is. Southcom Commander General Francis Donovan said coalition members have begun identifying priority networks, regional leads, and specific campaign objectives. They're putting targets up on the board, is what that means, with working groups being established across Latin America to develop a formal A3C campaign plan by November. Hegseth also announced a new coalition motto. You ready? We do bad things to bad people. That is the new motto. We do bad things to bad people. We're talking who's the bad people? The cartels, and we're going to do bad things to them. He says the A3C was launched in March as a U.S.-led multinational effort focused on combating transnational drug cartels, illegal migration, and foreign geopolitical interference in the Western Hemisphere. This is our hemisphere. You heard of the Monroe Doctrine? North Pole to South Pole. This Western Hemisphere, it is ours. It belongs to the United States of America. Of course, we've got some neighbors in the hemisphere. We want to get along with them. But the United States of America will no longer tolerate any sort of anti-American behavior in, frankly, what is our hemisphere. Okay, it used to be called the Monroe Doctrine, going all the way back to 1823. Now, guess what? It's being revitalized. Now it's called the Donroe Doctrine. Take a look at this. Breaking news. We have an update. Days after being inaugurated, Colombia's brand new right-wing president, Abelardo de la Espriella, has just authorized joint U.S. military operation against targets in the cartels in Colombia. Yes, to be very clear, the new right-wing president of Colombia has given the United States, the Department of War, permission to bomb cartel operations in Colombia. How does that sound to you? Sounds good to me. Take a listen to this.
I'm also proud to announce that Colombia will join the ACCC, becoming the 19th member. And through the newly inaugurated president, as our president likes to say, President El Tigre, Colombia has already requested that the Department of War join Colombia in its fight against narco-terrorism, authorizing joint military operations to destroy terrorists and terror networks. Thank you very much.
Folks, for a long time, these cartels, they've been operating with impunity. They've been operating in highly corrupt Latin American countries like Colombia, like Venezuela, like, dare I say, Mexico. They've been shipping their poison, their weapons, their drugs, their insurgents, their paramilitary insurgents across the border up into our country, causing chaos, knowing really banking on the fact that we would never go to their home turf and take them out. Guess what? Those days of cartel impunity are done. Now we're taking the fight to them by nature of this Shield of America's program. We have a statement here from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth a couple days ago. You are going to like this. Listen to this.
That's why today we launched the motto of the ACCC, which is we do bad things to bad people. Because for too long, bad people did bad things to good people inside the United States of America and across Central and South America. And we're going to empower great Americans and great partners to do really good stuff and be very capable about bringing violence against drug cartels and designated terrorist organizations, because we're dead serious about securing the homeland. We're dead serious about the Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, which is not just talk, it's not just a policy extension of Teddy Roosevelt. It is a recognition that DTOs, foreign terrorist organizations, will not control our hemisphere with our partners, and we will not allow foreign malign influence to take over, say, key terrain like the Panama Canal. That's why today...
Ladies and gentlemen, going forward, we are doing bad things to bad people. This reminds me of one of my favorite phrases, figures of speech. They say, to tolerate the wolves is to condemn the sheep. If you tolerate the wolves as they prey on the sheep, you're just really giving these sheep a death sentence, okay? To tolerate evil. Okay, listen, we're not going to do this anymore. So to speak, we're going after the wolves that have been preying on the
So in
innocent
Siege now,
for a
instead
very,
of
very long
banning
time. As far as I am
two
concerned,
operators
you wanna
per
know my
side
opinion, as far as I
for
am
the whole
concerned,
game, it's you
this
ban
is exactly what it looks
one
like.
person
to put
every round.
America first. Big news coming out of Latin America.
And it
Folks,
doesn't.
I gotta
The
say,
bans don't save
out of
for the
all
other,
of the
next
Trump
round, but it only for
administration
that round.
policies, out of every single thing that they are doing here, and they're doing a lot. They've got a lot of balls in the air here. They're juggling a lot here. Okay, this whole Shield of America program, going after the cartels, stabilizing Latin America, rebuilding Latin America and the image of America first, Western Hemisphere first. Nobody talks about this. Have you seen anybody else talking about all this information? No, I haven't. And this is, frankly, a very, very big deal. Big deal. You want to see fewer illegal immigrants coming from Latin America into the United States of America? Well, help stabilize their countries. Okay? Gut the cartels. Get them out of there. Shut down this foreign globalist rot that's taken over everything just south of our border. This is a big deal. Big deal, folks. Now, we have another massive story, and man, you guys are going to like this one. The Democrats are not happy about this next story. They have just suffered an absolutely massive legal defeat, which is really a legal victory for all of us. But before we get to our next story, ladies and gentlemen, there's something I want to say real quick. Bear with me. Do me a favor, folks. Listen, folks, a real quick shout out from today's sponsor before we get on to our next story. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have been dealing with those everyday aches and pains and stiffness that seem to show up sometimes after a workout or a long day, or maybe you're just getting a little bit older, we all are, day by day, here's something that is worth paying attention to. It's called Relief Factor. You see, Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free, research-based formula designed to support your body's natural inflammatory response using a series of natural key ingredients. Natural ingredients. Ingredients that you can actually pronounce, by the way. As far as I'm concerned, that's a big deal. And check this out. More than 1 million people have actually ordered Relief Factor. And what really caught my attention here is that roughly 70% of all the people that have ever ordered Relief Factor, they actually go back and purchase more. They're return customers. So you know what? Here's what I did. I actually tried it out for myself. I've got a bag of it right here, so you know I'm not lying to you. I conducted a little bit of an experiment, if you will. Now, personally, I've sometimes got achy knees from going to the gym, doing squats, chasing the kids around, playing with the dog in the yard. So I took Relief Factor for about 4 weeks.
Loading ammo.
So I just went to the bank and withdrew some money, and like there's like a bunch of like receipts all over the place. I looked at one. Somebody only had $45 in their account.
No.
People are living literally paycheck to paycheck. Fuck. Amazing timeline we're born into.
Mission failed. All friendlies have been neutralized.
Then, lo and behold, I noticed my knees felt noticeably better. And you know what I did?
Dog, we're
This
gonna
is
own
part of the
nothing and be
experiment.
happy, dog. That's how it's
I
gonna
stopped
be.
I stopped taking Relief Factor after 4 weeks. And guess what? The aches and the stiffness and the pain, it actually came back in
I
my
can
knees,
check
I kid
off
you not.
the
So
owning
results of my
nothing
little
part. I think they
experiment, you
got
might
that
ask, well,
pretty
Relief
much
Factor, as far as
No, but we'll
down
have-
to the
we'll-
T.
actually
we have
seems
to be
work.
happy, right?
So hey, if
That's
you
how
are
it works.
curious about what Relief Factor could do for you, you can start a 3-week quick start package for just $17.76. Yes, that is $17.76. That's about 95 cents per day, by the way.
So
Not a
didn't
bad
get the
deal.
memo.
You can go to
Fucking
relieffactor.com or
miserable.
you can call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That is 1-800-4-RELIEF. And hey, while you're on the phone, do me a favor, let them know that you heard about it over here on the Morse Report. That's how they know that I sent you.
The
But
water
ladies and gentlemen, with our
We're
daily
water.
sponsor shout out, we love Relief Factor. What do you say we
What are you
move
playing
on
as right
to
now?
our next story? Because
Vigil.
like I said, man, this might be my favorite story of the day.
You know what you know what makes no sense to me? People will say, "Oh, you it's harder to get a higher rank on PC than it is console." Gold 2's my best on console, Plata's my best on PC. They say the high ranked players say it was easier to get a higher rank during ranked 2.0. The highest I got to rank 2.0 was gold 2 with a 1.2 KD versus ranked 1.0 plat with a 0.9 KD. So it's like, I feel like these high ranked players are just lucky people that don't understand how it is to not have good teammates every game. Because like it's one thing if you're playing against champions, so like the top players in the world, like a top 5,000 player in the world. It's one thing to play against those guys if you are one of them, but when you're gold 2, you shouldn't be playing against a top 5,000 player worldwide.
Yeah.
And yeah, I told you, right? That guy that I'm talking about, he recently played with pros to where I could see in his recent games, he played with 2 pros. Like, I was mind boggled.
All friendlies were eliminated.
Yeah, dude, your mind was boggled.
Yeah, one guy just got a quad C4 on my team. Quad teammate C4, by the way, so it's
I like
way
it.
more
I have
impressive.
a feeling you're probably going to like it. Let's go and get in. Do me a favor. Make sure to hit that like
I
button.
killed
and
his
subscribe.
team.
Well, here we go.
Yeah, 2 guys were laying down, one guy
Ladies
was
and
at the
gentlemen,
window, and he
this
just threw the
morning,
thing
the
at the ground and
Democrats
killed
have
everyone.
just suffered an absolutely crippling, catastrophic defeat in the courts. As it would turn out, all of their lawfare has just backfired big time. Folks, take a look at this. Do me a favor. Like and subscribe. Check this out. Huge win coming out this morning. Federal Judge Allison Burroughs, who blocked the Trump administration from removing temporary protected status for Somalians inside of this country, well, he was just forced to reverse her stay order after the recent Supreme Court ruling. Trump, as of this morning, can now go ahead and officially remove temporary protected status from thousands of Somalians inside of the United States of America. Say goodbye to the quality leering centers. Get them all out of here. More information. A federal judge this morning is going to allow the Trump administration to end temporary protected status for Somalians, denying a bid from a left-wing judge to block the termination and lifting an administrative stay that had temporarily protected the Trump administration from ending TPS. The Democrats, you know, they don't know what temporary means. Temporary? I've never heard that word in my life. Does it mean permanent? I think temporary might mean permanent. Well, actually, no, it does not. It means temporary. It means fleeting. It means it is not, in fact, everlasting. And now the day has come. It's over. This is what is insane. The federal judge today cleared the way to end temporary protected status for Somalians after 35 years. Folks, Somalians in this country had
You watched Horrible Bosses, right?
protected status for 35 years.
Don't you think it's bullshit how that one character,
Bush administration.
I don't know if you remember, but his character, he works with, what's her name, Jennifer Aniston in like the dentist office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you think it's kind of bullshit how his character got flagged as like I don't know, like a fucking predator or whatever because he took a piss at like a kid's park at like 2 a.m. and nobody was around. Well, apparently somebody was around, or maybe it got caught on the camera. But it's just like, damn, dude, like there are actual predators out there, but
Oh
the
yeah,
guy
like
had to
some of them are
fucking
complete
go.
bullshit. But the thing is that if you have that distinction, it's easy to get away with it if you are real. If there's not a clear standard, obviously that's a stupid, like, it shouldn't happen like that. But
yeah, that's like with you for the rest of your life. It'll fuck up your employment options, everything.
Fuck up all your options.
God, it's
Friendly, last operator standing. All friendly.
And yes, that's Bush #1, Papa Bush. I'm 32.
Oh, right, you can
Folks,
change it.
I am 32 years old. We've had Somalians in this country with temporary protected status longer than I have even been alive. How insane is that? Somali deportation plane. Yeah, that looks about right. Moving on. We have an update from the Trump administration. Today's TPS update. The update for
Tell me,
all
when you
the
were younger,
temporary protected
you know,
status programs
maybe
in the country. Folks,
still in middle school or
every
you know,
single
even
one
high
has
school,
been
I guess
shut down.
that still
Haiti,
counts because
Syria,
it's still
Yemen, Afghanistan,
decent back
Cameroon,
then.
Nepal, Honduras,
Did
Nicaragua,
you have the idea
Venezuela,
that
South Sudan, Burma,
things
and
were
as
going to
of
get
today, Somalia.
unbelievably
Temporary protected
fucked in the
status
future,
is
like
now
so
gone,
bad? Or
terminated.
were you
There's
kind of like
there's only one country
naive,
left.
like, oh, it's only
one
up from here?
country left that has TPS right now. Still working through that legal
I wouldn't
battle
necessarily
process.
say
It
I
is
had either.
Ethiopia.
I thought it would be bad personally, not just subjectively, like everywhere. Because I thought, you know, oh, I'll never be able to own a car, or I'll never be able to afford school or whatever, so I kind of accepted that. But I didn't accept it because even if I wanted to have it, I wouldn't be able to either.
So you thought you wouldn't be able to afford it back in high school?
Well, back then, like, with how bad everything
Like
was.
I'm talking like grade
financially.
9, grade 10, or whatever.
Yeah, like how bad
Yeah.
everything was financially back then. Hasn't really got any better, but
It's definitely gotten worse.
Drone to locate a bomb.
no, but I just mean like in terms of my family. So yeah, obviously it hasn't got any any worse, but it hasn't gotten any better.
Insertion in 10 seconds. 5 seconds to insertion. Your mission is to locate and defuse a bomb. Bomb has been located.
Drone's up and running.
Op 4 last stop standing.
Swapping mags.
Friendly, last operator standing.
So this game, either I can't see their name or their icon, or my teammate's icon and name blocks everything.
Bomb diffusion initiated. Protect the diffuser.
Yeah.
Where it's fully legal, it's exceedingly rare in practice. In the United States, they estimate about 2 out of 1,000 marriages are among first cousins. It's very rare in Europe, Asia, South America, and really any country without a large Muslim presence, with the exception of a few pockets in Hindu South India, which...
Okay, yeah, no, even in Italy, where I'm from, I've never met anyone who married their trying to think if I met one, maybe, but it's extremely rare and usually, yes, of course, frowned upon.
Sees rates over 25%. So where is it popular? On a map, it's easy to see what they call the cousin marriage belt. It runs from Morocco through Pakistan, a nearly perfect overlap with Muslim-majority countries.
Yeah, of course, that's what it is. It's a cultural aspect.
What rank are you now?
201 or some shit.
I don't know, like, did you have to do, like, the placement games?
Oh, I haven't even... No, I'm not going to do placements until I'm warmed up at all. I'm not... I've only played 3 games, so I'm not going to play ranked yet. Okay, so if there was a title, like let's say there's a chart or like a picture of percentages for certain countries, and it said cousin marriage percentage by country, you'd assume that the percentages of marriages or the percentage of people who are married to their cousin.
I don't understand. Wait, say it again.
Like if there's cousin marriage percentage by country, and let's say for Canada it's 1.5%, is that 1.5% of marriages are cousin marriages, or 1.5% of people are married to their cousins? Because apparently there's some countries that are like 50%, 44.7, 61.2, 47.2, 37.6, 38.9, 38.5, or 39.5. Holy fuck. Can't remember what they called it, but was it like they called the incest belt or something? Like, yo, that is insane.
Coming from the religion. I wonder why though. Cousin consanguineous marriage.
Man, if I had a hot cousin, she was down.
I don't see any favorable
Scientifically, if it's the second and not the first, there's a slight increase percentage-wise, but it's minimal than just a normal unrelated like in terms of like child what are they called, like side effects?
Defects,
yeah.
You gotta keep the bloodline pure.
Like, I know
I've seen some hot cousins in my family, just like that.
I would say the same thing, but in the past. Like, when I was like 12, I was like, damn, she looking kind of nice. But now she doesn't.
No, she doesn't.
Well, there's one, but you know.
Nice.
Her dad's a millionaire, so it wouldn't happen anyway. Isn't it nice? Your dad makes a fucking multi-million-dollar glass company, you take it over, and then you sell it after you're already rich. It's amazing. It's unfathomable.
Yep.
I wonder what that's like.
Being rich.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't imagine waking up in my nice room with, you know, a nice TV, and then maybe one of my computers there, and then maybe some of my building materials there, and then I go to my main building room, and then I can go to my basement. That's a nice fucking basement that it is all like comfy and cozy and all that shit. Then go to my fucking perfect kitchen, and then my nice living room, and then go outside to my nice yard / few acres to look at my nice house, and then go to my garage with all my dream cars. So then, like, what part of your estate is not perfect at that point? Like, almost nothing in my house works as it should. We can't flush toilets properly. We can't fucking use certain amount of types of power throughout the house at the same time, or else we blow fuses. I'm scared the fucking makeshift roof in the garage is gonna collapse on the only good thing we have.
Now the toilets work.
Huh?
Now the toilets work.
Most of the time, no. We have to, like, pour in extra water from, like, a bowl, or else it will just fill up with water and won't go down. There's a new map called Calypso Casino. I haven't played this yet.
What's the point? I only see negatives.
So like I wouldn't want to play ranked anyway if I don't know this map.
Pakistan leads the bunch. About
Kinda looks
two-thirds
like,
of marriages are between blood relatives.
Black Ops 1
usually first
DLC
cousins.
map.
Across the Mideast and North Africa, 20 to 50% of all marriages
Hotel.
involve cousins.
Wow.
The overall numbers are hard to pin down precisely, but there are at least 500 million people married to their first cousin. Closer to 1 billion when you include second cousins as well. But it's important to note that there's not a uniformity here, with some Muslim countries having substantially lower rates. Bangladesh is 90% Muslim, but cousin marriage rate sits at around 17%.
I say I don't want to deal with that shit. Do you think so? Bangladesh, maybe you do say that a lot of them are Muslim, but maybe there is something cultural coming from pre-Muslim era that is sticking around, like a traditionalist. We'll see.
Indonesia has the world's largest Muslim
Where?
population, but cousin marriage rate sits at around 17%. Indonesia has the world's largest Muslim population, and their cousin marriage rates are about the same. Turkey, about 25% and falling. The rate
so it's Arabs.
of India's Muslims is 32%, which is many times higher than non-Muslim societies,
Yeah.
but half the Pakistani rate, despite living right next door and sharing the same religion.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is also cultural.
Since I'm like listening to a video that's talking about marrying cousins, do you think you can breed that out? Like, let's say there was a country like 1,000 years ago that every single person married their cousin and had kids. You think you could slowly work that out of the genetic pool, even if the same people from back then were still had ancestry to today? Or do you think there's always that issue there?
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask a
genealogist,
fucking biologist or some shit. Yeah.
Op 4 has located a bomb. Get ready for assault. Down to 10 seconds.
Nice.
5 seconds and counting. Bomb located by Op 4.
Evil eye on watching. Door secured. Evil eye in place. Changing man. Changing max.
Some cultures are more resistant to it than others.
You also see lower numbers among Muslims born in Western countries.
Yeah.
For instance, British Pakistanis born in the UK see rates drop by over half when they grew up in that different culture.
Well, yeah, wait 20 years and then let's do it again and we'll see.
So, what's so bad about marrying your cousin?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the stigma and the health issues. But first, let's spend a moment on something that I think about constantly. How
But
news
dog,
gets-
why don't the Targaryens always have messed up babies, dog?
Well, there was that one guy. He was a bastard, but he got burned by Vermithor. Had like the weird eye.
Yeah. I wonder if you got 100 people from the same family, though, what the percentage of
One friendly operator
genuinely
remaining.
messed up people would be. So I don't
Mission
know if
failed.
there-
All friendlies were eliminated.
I don't know if there are any people in my family that are like messed up. Dude, I get 1 kill, and you fucking ban Maestro? Like, he's not even good. People are weird, man. People are fucking retarded, man.
Reported. Now,
Ground news. Ground news. I called it,
Think
guys.
there's
Took me
any
2
difference
seconds.
I
between
worked in newsrooms for 2 decades.
like a female nurse that works at a hospital versus like a female nurse that works at like an old folks living home?
And I assume you're asking for the only reason why that question to me would be relevant. I don't think so. Maybe. I want to say by default, I would think that the old folks home would be less. But in my anecdotal experience of hearing about things, whether it's just online or people that I know of or watched online like YouTube, it doesn't really seem to be that much of a difference.
Bomb location compromised. Plan accordingly.
God.
All reinforcements in place!
10 seconds to insertion. 5 seconds to insertion. Bomb 4 has located.
Reloading!
Yeah, like I wonder, just like a thought that I had, like if Japan basically just dies out because they're not having kids, and they found out beyond a shadow of a doubt it's because women enter the workforce.
No, before you,
If we saw
if you ask
that.
me a question, no.
Yeah, I was wondering if they would take that into consideration, decide, yeah, we don't want to die out, so from this day forward, we're not letting women work in this country or whatever. You don't think so?
No. They'd rather have quote-unquote rights versus, like if we died off just for rights, it wouldn't matter. They would rather that happen. Guaranteed.
Yeah. It's a sad thought. I can't disagree.
Friendly, last operator standing. Op 4, last stop standing.
Residents after that snap to said like that. Then during the time that I did like that,
Mission failed. All friendlies have been
I was
neutralized.
a shot round.
Decades. And I watched it turn from kind of biased to you got to be kidding.
No, like
today.
No, it's hard for me to quantify or to put into words. But first of all, they would have to accept. Like, let's say it was true, they would have to accept that it's true. They would have to try to put that into.
You think they probably wouldn't?
But even if they did try to enforce the antidote, they have to basically nowadays they would have to allow it to happen, and I don't think most of them would because they're been brainwashed. I think they'd rather be stressed and depressed than have things get better, just so they can say that they can do what they want.
So you think if men invoked force, do you think that would work, or it still wouldn't work?
Oh, of course it would work, because the reason why it's happening now is because men are allowing it to happen. That's how it's always. That's how it always is.
What would you do with the beta males who would oppose that? Would you just be like, yeah, fuck these guys, just kill them too, because they're getting in the way, or?
Well, I wouldn't kill them. I'd probably, like, if I was gonna do anything physically with them, I would just send them somewhere where they wouldn't be complaining anymore. But also, you need.
I don't think we have enough prisons
not even
to house all of them.
Like one reason why families are dying is because, or it's not as many families being made is because there's no pro-family culture. So I don't even want to call it propaganda because that has a bad is it annotation? Connotation? That word has a bad word has a bad connotation, even though propaganda is just it's actually a neutral term by default. Just like how you have propaganda on cigarette packs to show what you can get if you smoke, right? But people would say that's good, but it's still propaganda.
You must protect your bombs from being defused.
Yeah, I think if we had stuff in TV shows and commercials promoting normalcy, those betas wouldn't be as likely to do that.
Wall reinforced.
And if there was a culture of just absolutely shaming and shitting on those guys.
Well, how do you do that without doing restrictions on technology, right? Because are we gonna get rid of social media? Because that's a main reason why things are fucked now.
True, but there are so many weakling not filters, but so many weakling policies on social media where it's easier to get banned from shaming a cuck than actually being a cuck. So maybe we ban cucks.
They just create another account.
Oh yeah, you IP ban cucks.
Oh, use NordVPN.
Oh, then they get reported to the police.
I feel like that would suffocate the police. The amount of requests they would probably have, there would be a huge influx, don't you think?
Dude, why did he get that kill? But like, what about before, where people like there was shame in society, where even if you didn't want to do something, you kind of felt like you had to.
Ground news. You know what that makes me think? I knew it was ground news. You know what that makes me think? Makes me think of the CDC and BBC.
Have any
Not that I would
particular
trust
example
either.
you're thinking of?
At this point, you can't trust anyone, can you? But ground news is actually based. I was sponsored by them a couple of times. I need to see if I can find the contact again.
Well, I guess before you couldn't really be a furry or a dude that dressed up in women's clothing.
You can see fund ownership, bias ratings, the whole picture. You can check it out at ground.news/elephants.
Ground.news/elephants, guys.
The feature I rely on the most, they call it blind spot.
Yeah.
It shows stories that are getting tons of coverage on one side of the political aisle and virtually none on the other. Here's a recent example. Convicted, repeat felon in Chicago was charged with assaulting a pregnant woman while he was out on the city's electronic monitoring program. 100% of the coverage of that story was on the right, with absolutely no left-leaning sources reporting it. On the other hand, a story about how British Prime Minister Starmer came out in support of Denmark while the Trump administration is talking about wanting to take over Greenland.
I don't know if shame is enough nowadays.
Just 17% of the coverage was on the right. This is the problem.
Well, we wouldn't know because there isn't really any out there.
You're not just missing context. You're sometimes missing.
Man, this guy makes it so interesting. I'm actually providing commentary to the sponsor. Okay, let's thank you.
Okay, so now back to the dating game.
Yes.
Let's talk about those cultures where it's not common and look at the question, why not marry your cousin? There are health issues to discuss, but in the West, marrying your cousin just feels wrong. It's a weaker version of the taboo against incest, but the gut reaction is immediate for most people, even if they can't quite articulate why. Part of it is familiarity. Cousins are family, and family just isn't supposed to be romantic.
Yes.
Cousins show up at family reunions, Christmas dinners, backyard barbecues. Potential partner and family, those just don't overlap in most of the world.
Yes.
Western individualism also emphasizes the whole concept of building a life with someone you choose. That's the opposite of someone your family tree gave you.
Absolutely, yeah. Interesting, the tree gave you. Do you think it's families forcing it culturally in the Islamic world where this happens?
And then there's a class dimension too.
We
Cousin
can look at
marriage
Korea,
seems
right?
backward.
The 4 Bs. There's no cultural or physical enforcement to counteract that, at least right now.
But is Korea undergoing... When I think of Korea, I don't really think of depravity. I just think of like super high standards. That's like basically like fucking them over. Because they have like the highest rate of like cosmetic surgery. It like ties into like whether you can get a job or not. Obviously dating, like that sort of stuff. But I don't really see like the degenerate like type of shit you see in like America, like. Well, you know,
Well, because they still have
shit.
like cultural standards and norms. Where here the feminism just tore everything of that away.
You found a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it.
They're a little bit more behind on that garbage, but it's their version happened quicker, so it's a little different. It's not as widespread, but it is stronger in some aspects.
You wouldn't say they're ahead of us? Because like I always hear like, oh, Japan is ahead of the curve, like when it comes to like economic outlook and all that shit. Because I think like the male loneliness epidemic was pretty bad there before it really got like as bad here.
I'm not sure actually, but it is different again, right? That still has cultural. They still appreciate their culture a bit more instead of just complete.
It's an uneducated in Western cultures.
Yeah.
The hillbilly or the inbreeding stereotypes, they have a real social stigma. The bottom line is that our culture has spent 1,500 years conditioning
Or
us to
saying
see
it's
marrying
bad,
your
like you're not
cousin
gonna
as
fucking
wrong.
hear Japanese people saying, "Oh, samurais are bad."
It's good.
It's just not gonna happen.
It's insane how it now you associate.
So that's what I'm
with
saying.
hillbillies,
Like,
but back in the day, like in
it happened
classical
faster
antiquity or
and
even
might
in
even
the
be
Middle Ages,
more
depending on where you looked. It was actually a
strong.
way
But for that
for,
one part of it,
royals
where
to
here
maintain
it's
their line
10 different
pure
aspects.
In a way, but I guess it's
and
weird if you think about it, because I
75%
mean,
is
all
bad,
you
maybe.
need to do is have a few kids and then see what happens. Oftentimes, And that should be enough to be like, okay, we've got to stop this. And yet they kept doing it for generations. Look at, for example, the Ptolemy, which is one of the reasons why it's actually hilarious that they went with Black Cleopatra, not only on those areas of the internet where they actually do believe that Cleopatra was
I do
black.
find it weird people that say like so many aspects of things in, like, let's say Game of Thrones or Star Wars, like they say, oh, the Kingsguard sucks, fucking the kingdom aspect sucks. It's like, well, if so many parts of it suck, if you're comparing it to our world and saying it sucks because it's not like that, why do you like the show?
Or are they saying it sucks as in like if you were like the fucking poorest of the poor in King's Landing, you'd be miserable? Or are they saying something else?
Like, the way that I look at it is, but even if you think everything is poor and miserable, why are you gonna watch something where everything is miserable? Like, to me, I watch Star Wars and I see Super Star Destroyer. That's not miserable to me. That's badass. That's cool. I want to see that on the screen.
So like they're saying like the armor sucks for like the Kingsguard?
Well, I saw a title in a video, and it's not just this title. I see it all the time everywhere. It's Jaime Lannister is a hero and the Kingsguard suck. Or the Kingsguard sucks. It's like, if you don't like the concept of things like that, what do you like about the series?
Well,
like, to me,
did they follow up? Did they offer like a specific critique?
I'd have to find the video again. But the way that I look at that kind of opinion is the same logic of why Bran being king is a good thing. Yeah, it may be good for the people in the world, but for the story, for the narrative, like, you just want to see like 5 seasons of, like, it's like you're watching The Office, but in a serious world. It's like there's nothing that happens then. It's not a comedy. It's just serious nothingness. Like, to me, yeah, oh yeah, you know, this and that happens in Star Wars, but if there's no Jedi fighting Sith, or there's no, you know, some sort of familial struggle in Game of Thrones between like the Starks and the Lannisters or the Targaryens, even within themselves, it's like, what's it really like? Why would I specifically watch Game of Thrones? Why wouldn't I just watch like a medieval movie from like the 1960s or 70s if it's really that aesthetic that I want, and not anything specific to that story?
Be patient in there. They'll come to us.
May the best of
I don't mean to fucking choose this chick. Like, if the opening to episode
Maybe
3
I'd be
is
willing
happening...
to...
Yeah, go on.
Maybe I'd be willing to entertain those people if, you know, at the same time, like, if they don't like Game of Thrones, but they really like, I don't know, like Dune or something, like how the, you know, Leto Atreides has, like, those guards or whatever. Maybe they just like sci-fi or something, they just don't like medieval, then sure, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that those are kind of based off of medieval kind of archetypes?
I mean, they don't really use guns or anything, right? So
even if they did use guns, it would kind of be like they're the same type of character, but then they just swap a sword for a gun.
Yeah.
It's almost like Star Wars is guys with swords, and then the lesser skilled people have bow and arrows. To me, that's what that kind of is comparable to.
The diffuser is no longer in your possession.
Oh my god, dude. Cause yeah, like if the opening of episode 3 doesn't start out with, you know, a Venator, fucking Anakin and Obi-Wan flying towards a Venator and then saying super close range, I assume, to not be picked up on radar. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like am I gonna be like, oh, a Star Destroyer isn't cool because it's a thing of war? It's like, no, dude, the Yamato is fucking badass. The Musashi's badass. Just because it like I could say, yeah, it's like it's not preferable, but it's a fucking feat of engineering that interests me, and I would love to if they didn't sink 80 years ago, I'd want to see them. I don't know. It's a weird kind of outlook on something that you apparently like the world of. Like, I like the concept of the Starks. I think a lot of them are fucking retards. I'm not gonna say, oh, like, they're, like, not good for the story. I think that would just be a retarded statement.
Use your drone to locate a bomb.
But maybe I don't get the context, like understand the context, but even when I hear them explain it, I still don't understand it.
Drone has located a bomb.
Because it's weird, the same dilemma's like, dragons suck, but then they also say dragons are cool, but it's like, I don't know.
Also, have these people, are they saying it sucks in comparison to the books, or what?
No, I think it's a moral claim within the universe, but they're comparing it to our world, and I think that's I don't know what word to use, but that's the wrong way to look at it. Damn dog, I didn't know I had a gold 357 Magnum.
Ridiculous, but also Netflix adaptation, which was a documentary. So shut it, I don't even want to hear it when you say not a documentary, that one is a documentary in theory. And then not only they showed Cleopatra being black, which is nonsense since the Ptolemy and the family they are the ones who are not going to choose to breed with someone who doesn't even belong to the bloodline, never mind a completely different race. But what's funny is that they didn't do that. They did the entire family black. If you appreciate my content so far and wish
Like,
to
imagine if it was
my
like, oh,
ability to continue
you
to
know,
tell it how
this
it
and
is,
this
regardless
sucks
of
in
any possible
Halo, and
backlash,
it's like,
please support this channel on Patreon.
what, you're saying
Any
like
support
the
helps me and my
Spartans
team
or
of
whatever
academics keep the
against the
channel
elites
strong
suck?
and gives us the means
Like
to fight
that's,
back
like
against
that's
the political
like
rewriting of
a
history.
massive part of
Stand
the
with
universe.
us, form the wall.
Like if they're
defend the truth.
massive, if the what would it be? What's the one that starts with a C? I think
Covenant.
Yeah, the Covenant. Don't they have ships that are like miles long?
Yeah.
Like, if you think all that sucks or is bad, it's like, like what do you like in the universe then? I just don't understand it. It's like I'm not gonna watch Lord of the Rings and be like, yo, the fucking ring wraiths suck, dude. I hate those guys. It's like, no, they're cool. So maybe the way they look at it is just the opposite, or like they're just complete, like very different. But It's like I don't
No,
actually
really, seriously, I
understand them.
wanted it. I
If
watched
they
the
explain it,
first
it still
episode
doesn't
and
make
I
sense
stopped.
to me.
But in the first episode, it's quite clear that it's the entire family, the father, all the Ptolemy are all black. That's how they justified it, I guess, in order to make it make sense from the they inbred point of view, but it still does not make sense and it's nonsense. But it was royals that did it. So weird. So we went from royals to hillbilly.
Have you read any of
and
the
then
book
I guess
lately?
Muslims somewhere in there.
So even without understanding that
I read some of the book today. I'm actually kind of liking the fourth book.
Your drone has found a bomb. Insertion in 10 seconds.
The Dornish kind of stuff isn't too bad,
5 seconds
at least so far.
Proceed to bomb
There's
location.
a based Stannis quote in the third book. Oh yeah, you still haven't got to the third book, right?
Huh?
I was talking to the retard that team killed me last round.
Reloading! Cover me! Getting your eyes on the hostiles!
Op 4 last stop standing. Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission successful.
the history, the science, we've internalized the taboo. It's written into our cultural DNA.
True.
But there are also real health reasons behind that instinct. Birth defects double in
There you
first
go.
cousin marriages.
Double.
From roughly 2 to 3% to 4 to 6%. That means the vast majority of children are born healthy, but the ones who aren't, they're often severely damaged.
Yeah.
And while single generation cousin marriage carries a moderate risk, when it repeats across generations, the
course.
danger multiplies.
You know, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's in fact, it's selfish, because you're willing to gamble with the life of this child for what? Like, it's ridiculous. I don't even care if you have feelings for the cousin, which a lot of the times I don't even believe it has to do with that. It's just cultural. Of course, you marry your first cousin because that's what we do. But even if you did, you got to think about the child. You got to put, and that's the first thing that you learn as a parent, is to put your child first. So there's that.
If your parents were cousins and you marry your cousins, rare genetic diseases can jump 10 to 20 times higher than the general population. Recessive genes that might stay hidden for generations, they show themselves when the same limited gene pool keeps intermarrying. Infant mortality.
I think eventually, it says now infant mortality, but eventually it's something that nature self-corrects. At least that's what I would think.
Secure
But
the
then
bomb.
again, if they keep doing that in the Muslim world, then what does that do to the population at large?
Infant mortality overall is higher, and there's a spike in conditions like congenital heart defects, neural tube defects, intellectual problems. The city of Bradford, England, shows the effect in stark numbers. British Pakistani children comprise 3% of births overall, but 30% of children born with genetic
Seconds. 5 seconds and counting. Op 4 has yet to locate a bomb.
You're home, you said?
No, still out.
Op 4 has located a bomb.
Oh, fuck.
disorders.
I would make it illegal. In the West, illegal. Everywhere, absolutely not. Defend the children at this point. Like, I don't care if you're... But my culture, well, nobody cares about your culture here. It's you assimilate to us. That's how it works with things like this. If it's something else, like, I don't want to eat pork, don't eat pork. I'm not. Who cares? Like, you don't eat pork, I eat pork, and no one. It's fine. You don't tell me not to eat it. I don't tell you to eat it. And I think we can live peacefully ever after. Right? But stuff that like this, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Again, most families are fine, but a minority, they can face devastating outcomes.
Yeah.
So here's some context to think about because it gives this whole issue a little bit more nuance.
Okay.
Smoking during pregnancy. That shows a considerably higher correlation with birth defects than marrying your first cousin.
I would make that illegal too, by the way.
Alcohol use, that's even worse. Now, those things carry context to think about because it gives this whole issue a little
It's
bit more
amazing how a
nuance.
place can
Smoking.
Can what?
Some bring back memories.
Like where?
Oh, I'm by Rivercrest. Just walking on the field. Oh God, it was perfect back then.
During pregnancy. That shows a considerably higher correlation with birth defects than marrying your first cousin.
I would make that illegal too, by the way.
Alcohol use, that's even worse than marrying your first cousin.
I would make that illegal too, by the way.
Alcohol use, that's even worse. Now, those things carry a social stigma in most parts of society. But government surveys in the United States show almost 5% of expecting mothers smoke during their pregnancy.
Awful, by the way. Absolutely awful.
And 14% reported drinking, with a third of those reporting binge drinking. Or you could...
Oh my gosh, binge drinking while you... I swear. At that point, it's like... Yeah, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking.
Look at children born to women over the age of 40. They face similar risks, but nobody's talking about banning that.
True. That is a very good point, actually. Interesting way to put it. Yeah, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking.
Look at children born to women over the age of 40. They face similar risks, but nobody's talking about banning.
Okay. No, I've been kind of preaching this for a while, but I don't know the exact statistics, but birth defects between cousins are similar to mothers over 40.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, man. To me, you don't have to look at studies to know that. There's just a reason why dudes are attracted to, you know,
Secure the bombs.
youthful women.
Yeah. I'm sure there are cases where, you know, couples meet and they don't realize they're actually related.
Yeah.
Until, well, they do some kind of DNA test or some shit.
I don't know what percentage that is. It's probably a low percentage, but it's probably more people than we think.
Down to 5 seconds.
Because I've even heard that happening with a mother and son, so if that can happen, then it's...
Oh, God.
Pretty fucking... It's not I guess, highly unlikely. But I guess if that was the case, the familiarity aspect wouldn't be there if they didn't know that they were related. So maybe they'd stick it out.
Yeah, and it's like if kid has no defect. Some people probably go through an
Never
entire
know.
marriage, never knowing. It's pretty wild. Fuck.
Op 4 eliminated.
Oh, I just got a triple kill for final kill cam. Let's go.
Yeah, dude, is your life complete now?
complete, yeah.
Are all the worries gone? Yeah? Your back is cured and all that?
Asthma about to go on my bench. It's cured.
Nice. Why don't you just start off with the bench? Why do you...
I do start off with the bench, but then
Oh.
some
Well,
depending
sometimes
on,
I hear you say, oh, I gotta get my bench or whatever.
Yeah, well, if like sometimes I like to drink my monster sitting up, so it's easier to enjoy. I don't have to like not stress myself, but may have to do dumb shit to drink because I'm almost flat. So not almost flat, but like what 150-degree angle or 140-degree angle. So
Ending that.
you have to like
That is a very good point,
hyperextend
actually.
your neck forward.
Interesting way to put it. What do you guys think?
And you
about
can't,
this?
you don't, you
Would
can't get
also
used to
ban
sitting
that?
in a
Well,
chair.
no,
It's not like
you wouldn't
exposure
ban
makes it
a
better.
woman,
If anything, it makes it
you know,
worse.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't ban it, but I would absolutely ban like smoking, heavy drinking, and first cousin. I would ban all of that. So why? Why am I? This is why his videos are great. They make you question yourself. Why am I not willing to ban this? Is it a cultural thing then? Should it be banned as well?
So the health reasons against having children with your cousin are real, but the reaction against the practice, it goes deeper than just health statistics.
True.
Okay, so now let's flip the question and look at the reasons why people do it. I mean, hundreds of millions of people don't marry their first cousin without rational reasons to do so. And what I discovered is that
rational, we'll have to see.
It's not really their religion leading them to it, but cultural factors that support their economic and social structures.
Right, but then we should also say in this case that the religion oftentimes is intertwined with the culture. When this happens here in the West, there's a lot of people, you can be atheist, you can be in fact a different religion, but if you're a Westerner, there is a lot of Christian thought that goes into you don't even realize. I mean, heck, even people who say words like in the name of God and things like this, they use it even if they don't believe it. God bless, even if ever they say that God speak, and this is because it's ingrained within the culture, and oftentimes it connects to the way we think, to the things that we consider to be appropriate or inappropriate. And the West is, at the end of the day, the child of Greco-Roman society and Christianity. They are both within us as we are Westerners. And so, in this case, I don't know how much of the religion is intertwined into the cultures. I guess it varies from country to country, which would also explain why some countries have less of an influence from, but I do think it stems from their religion. 100% it stems from their religion. That's what I believe. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments.
And some of it offers advantages for brides and their husbands. I mentioned Pakistan's high rates, so let's focus on that as a case study.
Okay.
Its social structure is often described as intensive kinship. Families and extended clans make up the core of social life and support systems, especially in rural areas. Your relatives are your bankers, business partners, and safety net. Marrying within the family strengthens those ties. And a cousin marriage, it's not just seen as a union of two people, it's essentially a contract between two branches of the same family. Clan strength, that depends on size, cohesion, and concentrated wealth. Marry outside the clan and you fragment those. You're now doing favors for your wife's relatives instead of building your own power base.
Or what if you marry rich? I mean, not that I'm advocating for it, but I'm just trying to see the inner consistency of the logical pattern.
Another thing, Pakistan is a heavily agrarian society, and for farmers, land is everything. And Pakistani inheritance law divides the land among all sons. A 10-acre farm split 4 ways might become 4 barely sustainable plots. But marry your cousin, Those plots recombine in the next generation and automatically solve that fragmentation problem. A bride's dowry price also runs about half the cost when you marry a cousin versus an outsider. And then the money stays in the extended family's pocket instead of going to strangers.
Would it go to strangers though? Because I mean, your son is still benefiting from it, and his wife becomes your family. Maybe that's another thing, but at the end of the day, strangers do become family. So maybe they don't see it that way.
Protect the bombs.
All of this helps middle-class families stay that way. Wealthy families, they marry cousins to keep fortunes consolidated. For example, the Sharif family, Pakistan's political dynasty, they practice cousin marriage for generations.
What do your
keeping
parents
their
have the air
business
conditioning at?
and their political empire tightly controlled. And poor families, some marry cousins because they really can't afford the bride price for outsiders. So the system works at every economic level.
So like the solution to a
That says 21 degrees Celsius.
Is well, marry your cousin.
What is that?
Like I'm the son, you don't worry about it, Dad. I know we can't afford it. It's fine. The family's okay because we love each other. So we'll make do.
There you go.
And I mean, we had the smallest marriage because my wife was fine with it. I was fine with it. Little small church. We had like 15 people, including the pastor that married us. And
Wall fortifications down! Look at my evil eye. My evil eye has your back.
Reloading ammo.
71. Great. We got Vienna sausages, dog. Have you ever had the little Vienna sausages in the tin cans?
No, not that I know of.
Goated.
Seconds left. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds to go.
Stupid, dude.
Last operator standing. The time limit has been reached.
Everybody was happy about it. We didn't spend almost anything in on our marriage because we preferred to create a little nest of savings just for possible rainy days, and that was it. It was very simple. Went to the restaurant afterwards, Italian restaurant. We ate, it was great, and back home. Done. great, married.
Just for different
Must
reasons.
kill
There are also
the
a number of advantages that
children.
families say they see in cousin marriages, especially for their daughters.
Right.
One is that it keeps the family closer together geographically. A young woman isn't marrying someone far away where you might only see her on holidays. She stays nearby. Another is familiarity. The couple and families know each other and share similar values. The concept of, we know the boy and his family because they're our relatives, that's more comforting than bringing in a stranger where everything's unknown.
I mean, I know he's just telling us the way they think, and based on his studies, I get it. Not working on me though. It's like I just see it feels so alien to me to think that as a stranger. Well, who cares? Like, but then again, I say that because I'm a Western person. Is it a good man or a bad man? That's what I would ask if someone is marrying my daughter.
Now imagine killing yourself and then ending up in hell.
No, that would be completely irrelevant.
Forever, yeah.
There's also an implicit trust that a cousin might
It's
be
pretty
less
much how it
likely
is,
to
right?
treat his
There's
wife
loving
as
God.
something to bring shame on the entire family, and that the family could intervene if a problem arises. Now, that might have an element
Does
of
that make
truth
sense
to
to
it,
you?
but when I tried to look into the domestic violence data, I really couldn't find
What?
any real reason
That you go to hell
believe
when you
that
kill
cousin
yourself?
marriage is overall protected.
Yeah, I did not protect married women.
It does make sense
Emotionally,
if
physically, but yeah.
you know
I mean, I
God
guess
and
vice versa
heaven
also happens,
and hell
which is probably
exist.
less important.
Because sometimes
if your
nearby,
life and
can mean
existence
traps.
and soul
And if
is
disputes arise between the
what's the
family,
word?
that doesn't necessarily
Precious or
mean
whatever,
they
and you take
prioritize
that
the
away
wife's
from
safety.
yourself.
Honor kill.
It does make sense, but it is kind of fucked up.
5 seconds to insertion. Keep an eye out for Op 4 attempting to defuse your bombs.
I kind of like just because it's yours doesn't necessarily mean you're free to do anything with it. Kind of like just because it's your house, you can't set it on fire. That's still that's still a crime, right? And I feel like it should be.
Mm.
You could also say that killing yourself when other people have been murdered is kind of immoral, so it wouldn't even have to be illegal in whatever sense it could be. It would just be you took your own life when other people had theirs taken without their choice, so you get screwed over.
But if God can forgive a murderer, but the person who kills himself ends up in hell,
because the
don't you see
murderer
how
could
fucked
have...
that is?
Yes, but the murderer had time to be forgiven after.
If you were a god, how would you make it work?
Well, I would know the person's motives and heart, right? So that would depend.
So if the person was miserable, and they just couldn't handle it anymore, what would you think of that?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how I'd make that work, but it wouldn't be the same as
It's like, yo, like, I know you were in agony on Earth, and like I kind of didn't help you out down there. You're kind of on your own, but because you killed yourself, I'm gonna send you to hell, where you're gonna get ass raped by Satan for eternity. Have fun.
Awful. It's hard, sometimes impossible, to really look at a discrete element of a society and say, how does that affect things overall? Another factor that perpetuates cousin marriage is extreme gender segregation. In rural areas, women are often kept separate from men outside their family altogether. In conservative households, women's entire social world is the family compound. They often can't leave the house unaccompanied. They don't attend mixed-gender schools or work
I always
outside
laugh
the home.
at
Their entire social network consists
when
of
somebody
relatives.
says, you know, God never gives you more than you can handle. Somebody says, well, what if they kill themselves? Like, well, clearly it was more than he could handle, right? You fucking killed himself.
Yeah, well, that's under the assumption that everything that someone has is given to them by God and not something else. Oh. What's this saying?
Relatives are literally the only opposite sex people they've ever had a conversation with. You can't marry someone you've never met. And usually, parents control marriage decisions with a near total authority.
Can you imagine that? Like literally stuck 2,000 years in the past. That's what we're talking about, 1,000 years in the past. Because I mean, but then again, no, because in the West, even in the Middle Ages, if you were royals, that's one thing. But average people, farmers and peasants and normal citizen, people that weren't royalty, they weren't controlled by authority of the family. So it's insane.
The vast majority of Pakistani weddings, they're arranged by the family. Even love marriages are usually just family-approved choices between cousins who've developed affection over the years. A 2019 survey found that 82% of Pakistani women reported having no say in choosing their spouse.
82%? Where are the feminists complaining here?
And the final major factor I'll mention is one that doesn't encourage cousin marriages per se, but it's a requirement for it to continue. A high fertility rate. You need lots of kids and you need lots of cousins. I mean, think about it. If you have 4 siblings who each have 4 kids, that's 16 first cousins for potential marriage partners. Compare that to countries with half the fertility rate of Pakistan, and the math works out to only 2 or 3 first cousins. Pakistani's population doubled from 1990 to 2020, so the
말보다는 행동이지.
I'm reloading. Barricade going up. Attila is active. There you are.
Swapping. Reloading. You can run, but you can't hide. One op 4 remaining. 15 seconds. 10 seconds to go.
the cousin pool. But for countries where fertility rate drops, the whole system falls apart. there just aren't enough cousins to go around. That, along with other social changes, explains why cousin marriage rates dropped in countries like Bangladesh and Turkey, despite the same Islamic traditions.
Okay. That is revealing.
Turkey's fertility rate crashed from 4.5 children per woman in 1980 to 1.5 today. Bangladesh saw similar numbers. Aggressive campaigns there saw the rate of educated girls
going back to the... it'd be really hard to fix it unless there's force. They use different terms as well. Instead of using things like 1.5 births per couple or per whatever, it's per woman. So it sounds like, oh, you're replacing the woman, but that child needed to be made with a man as well. So it's I think it's to trick people into thinking that it's actually better than it is. Because even the ones that have 5, that's in that same average. So which I don't know why they use that statistic.
Fertility rates drop as they usually do when more women go to school.
That is such. Why do you think that happens, by the way? Why do you think there is a correlation? Is it because women chase career at that point? Does it become like a way? I wonder if that's the reason, or if it's just because sometimes it's difficult to really understand, because correlation is not always causation. So there may be a correlation between educated women and less families, absolutely. But at the same time, does that have to do also with the type of mentality and ideologies that are usually pushed to educated women by the educational academics? By academia itself? Could it have to do with politics? Because a lot of things together merge into creating a result, a phenomenon. I rarely believe it's a single thing, single element. If they're educated and want to have I don't know, I'm sure that could be part of it, but I don't believe it's the only thing.
You have located a bomb.
Economic development and urbanization also increased gender mixing and marriage markets beyond the family.
Swapping bags!
Scanning for electronic devices. Located a bomb.
Stay clear of the blast!
Oh, fuck.
The diffuser is no longer in possession.
Dude, how is he not dead?
The religion stayed the same, but the structures of their societies changed. Hey, this is a good time to mention, if I've made a real mistake here, yell at me in the comments. I'll address it in a pinned
Dog,
comment.
you fucking
and the
rage
description
quit,
box.
dog?
You
What
can
the
also find the script in
fuck?
my sources. Okay, so let's look at Islam versus the world and answer the core question. Why is cousin marriage only common in one religion? The short answer, Islam didn't start
What the fuck is
Tonex?
Tonex?
Either. Christianity did, and
it's,
that choice reshaped much of the world.
Yeah, so Christianity did ban it.
It's like a digital
Marrying your cousin
music
wasn't
thing.
invented by any one culture or
Or
religion.
sound,
And in the old days, it was everywhere.
Sound
The Bible had
digital-
Jacob marrying 2 of his cousins. Sarah was Abraham's half-sister.
What
If
is
you're a
it?
strict creationist,
Digital
Adam and Eve's
something
kids
workstation.
didn't
I
have
can't
many
remember what
options
the
for populating the
actual
planet.
acronym
In ancient Egypt, nobility
says. I'll be
routinely
back.
married.
Protect the bombs.
Swapping mags. Reloading. Cover me.
Bomb location compromised. Plan accordingly. 10 seconds. 5 seconds to insertion. Bomb located by Op 4.
Reinforcements nearly done. Keep up with each other.
I'm reloading.
I'm sorry I'm late, guys.
Try to get through that.
Oh, fuck.
I'm reloading.
You must kill them all, sir. Christ almighty on a fucking Molshizer dog.
Toxins in position.
Last operator standing.
Is there any reason in particular you started playing this game again?
I've been watching a lot of clips of it. And I've always hated that I didn't reach platinum again.
Were eliminated. Mission failure.
I know I should have. But you know, I had to go up against champions, diamonds, emeralds every fucking game. Look, there's no reason I have a 1.2 KD. And I'm only in... And I'm not ranking up. Like, technically you should reach a rank to where you have a 1 KD. And then if you start going negative, then you go back down and you actually find your real rank. Unless you're just like really good at the game and you get the highest rank in the game and then you have a really good KD, then you're actually good, but that's because you found your relative rank and you can't really get any higher because you're one of the top percentage.
Secure the bombs.
And it seems like my PC can run it, so maybe they updated it, or maybe the engine, maybe they updated the engine or something, I don't know.
Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for assault. down to 5 seconds. Op 4 has located a bomb. Get ready to engage.
Morgan's ready. Shoot it if you need it. Razor wire set. Morgan is ready. Use it if you have to. Morgan deploy. All set.
Cousins is a safer alternative to sibling marriage.
By the way, I have addressed the concept, the idea that some people follow of Adam and Eve's kids being, and all the other, and then the generations being the product of incest between Adam and Eve's kids. I don't believe that one, by the way. I do believe that Adam and Eve are real, because I'm a Christian, but I'm one of those who, I don't think it's a metaphor. Absolutely not. I think it's real. But I also don't think it's a matter of incest. I've mentioned it on a video, I talk about my ideas, and I show you what scriptures I use to back it up. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description after the link to his.
You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Yo, I just saw this on my boy's story. How? What happened? Yo, I gotta look this up right now. Yeah, I saw this on his story. Like, I'm showing you exactly what I saw on his story. I'm like,
I'm dog, you're banning the best fucking character, dog.
Nice, dude.
Okay. Going at 36. She was 36 years old. It's with profound sadness. We shared a tragic passing of our beloved Hayden. She was an incredible light and force of nature, who brought immeasurable love and joy to all who knew her. And to the millions who watched her on screen, her representative said in a statement, further details surrounding were not immediately available. What?
Video.
Protect the bombs. Be advised, Op 4 has found a bomb. Down to 10 seconds. 5 seconds to insertion.
Loading new magazines.
Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for hostile action. Remaining.
Dude, I'm around the corner, man.
Because Just want to courtesy means first.
Even pharaohs recognized sibling marriage carried visible dangers to the health of children, but pharaohs often did it anyway to preserve their bloodlines. But the commoners didn't. And cousin marriage became a respectable version of that. Pre-Islamic Arabia made cousin marriage standard practice for centuries before Muhammad. Greek and Roman families did it. Jewish communities did so under Mosaic law. Then, in medieval times, the religions split, with Islam staying the same. The Quran explicitly permits cousin marriage when it lists who you can't marry. Mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, nieces. Cousins aren't mentioned, and in Islamic law, what's not forbidden is allowed. Essentially, silence equals permission. Muhammad himself took a cousin for one of his wives. And for 1,400 years, every major school of Islamic law has approved it, Sunni and Shia alike. So when something is allowed in scripture and practiced by the Prophet, it's protected from reform. Some contemporary Islamic scholars, they raise health concerns, but they can't call it haram without contradicting clear religious text.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
But Christianity took a different path. And around 500 AD, the Catholic Church started restricting it. Pope Gelasius initially banned marriages to third cousins. And over years,
did they make Dokkaebi uglier?
500 years later,
oh, my graphics are
people who share great
bottom of the barrel.
Basically everyone in a medieval village. The church required a detailed genealogical investigation before any marriage, and you had to prove that you weren't related going back 6 generations.
Not only are my settings low in game, but in the actual graphics card, NVIDIA settings, they're as low as possible.
Conventions and that kind of stuff. Probably did.
That eliminated most potential spouses. As the Protestant Reformation came along, they didn't reverse this practice, and the restrictions survived the split. So why did the church do it? St. Augustine argued in the 5th century that marrying outside kin groups should bind social life more effectively. He noted cousin marriage wasn't forbidden by divine law, but that people shrank from it because it felt too close to incest. That natural human revulsion to incest, visible across every culture, extended in Christianity's thinking to cousins.
We must locate
Now,
and defuse a bomb.
Let's get our heads in the game. As long as you don't slow us down.
Ouch. Let me fucking get down here. Oh fuck, man.
Sending out RC.
Holy fuck, dude.
Activating shock drone.
Oh, fuck.
Reloading! Cover me!
Cover the diffuser.
Some historians, like Jack Goody, argue a darker theory, that the church was really motivated by money. Weakening lineages increased the odds that property would go to the church.
It's a stretch.
When families died without heirs. Now, it's easy in life to
They've already done that with celibate priesthood anyway, so I think that's
always say you're doing that for self-serving reasons. But it's hard to figure out the truth sometimes. In this instance, there's really little evidence to really believe that medieval clergy were cynical schemers. But the policy did bring political and economic changes. Breaking kinship structures, it weakened power bases that rivaled the church authority. And by 1200, the church owned over a quarter of Europe's land that could be cultivated, much of it through these inheritance patterns.
Man, you should see how many properties in Rome the Vatican still owns.
Still, the church eventually rolled the prohibition back, which could argue against a pure land grab, and by the 1200s, it settled on first cousins.
Right.
Victorian England still had some instances of it in the upper classes, but by the 1900s, the practice was generally under 1% in Western countries.
Generally under 1% in Western countries. It's gotta have a visible practical effect on the general gene pool of the populations, particularly when compared to countries where you've got an 80%. It's massive.
So what about non-Christian, non-Muslim countries? China's path on cousin marriage, it was a bit messy, with different dynasties having different rules. The practice never had religious protection, though, so when the Communist Party banned it in 1980, it was really just a public health decision.
Yeah.
India's more complicated. It never passed a national ban, but rates sharply declined in urban areas where education, mobility, and falling birth rates, they did what laws didn't have to. The worldwide pattern? We see a combination of Western influence, modernization, and genetic awareness driving the decline.
Genetic awareness driving the decline.
Christianity really led the way in medieval times, and most everyone else followed over the next 150 years. So Islam didn't change, Christianity and the rest of the world did. And that split created two fundamentally different social structures that we see today. So whether the church meant to or not, the ban changed how people live. So let's take a look at how it reshaped societies. Primarily, it forced Europeans to build economic and social relationships outside of kinship networks. You couldn't keep a family business going for generations by marrying cousins. Instead, you had to create partnerships and contracts with non-relatives.
You know, it is fascinating how things that appear small end up having a butterfly effect and branch out and having effects into things that after a few centuries you might...
You located a bomb.
Drone is ready. Changing mags.
Sending out some love.
Op 4 eliminated.
think, oh goodness gracious, this is what caused that. And sometimes it's really difficult to figure it out. But something like that happens a lot. Also, when you look at, for example, the way weapons and armor, the arms race, if you will, between the development of better weapons all throughout Roman period, and then the early Middle Ages, the high Middle Ages, the late Middle Ages, Renaissance, because literally we kept being at war with each other, and the proximity in Europe as opposed to,
Maybe
for
they
example,
did
all the
change how
land that
Dokkaebi
you
looks,
had,
but
the space
I haven't heard
you
about
had
that.
in America, for instance, when you had the Aztecs and whatnot, and then
It looks like they
that
did.
really, because that's a problem. When
Which
you have
I
a lot of
have
competition,
no fucking
there's
idea
a
why
lot
it would
of
change.
war is something that pushes development and
They should
progress.
change
I wish it
Brava
wasn't
because
the
she
case, but it
has
is really.
her eyes
You
don't
keep
even
inventing
look in
because
the
it's the
same
only way to
direction.
survive in a highly competitive society. And I imagine, and this is what drew economic growth.
Push the development of institutions like
Flores,
guilds
dude,
and
what a
corporations
fucking
and
joke.
banks that would lend to strangers.
Yeah,
Middle
look at the
Eastern
Templars.
societies, they kept their family-based trust networks.
Mm-hmm.
European marriage patterns created smaller nuclear families instead of large clans. So inheritance split across smaller family lines, not staying with the big extended families. Property had to be managed more actively.
look
It
at the
couldn't just
castle.
sit in a large family's hands for centuries. The social structure shifted from clan loyalty to individual achievement. And when you can't rely on a massive family network, you look outward.
Yeah, so individualism is part of it. Interesting how the fascists, for instance, historically tried to remove individualism, which is in fact something that happens in all sorts of totalitarian regimes. Look at, again, the Soviets and the USSR, communists. Look at the Austrian Painters Fan Club in Austrian Germany, should I say. They all tried to divide their way. I think it was a step backwards.
Professional associations, trade groups, political parties built on
and defuse it.
Nice.
Thought my teammate was there. He was, but he just went to the wrong room.
Ideas, not bloodlines. By the 1800s, Western Europe had evolved into different economic structures. Now, obviously there were a lot of factors, but it's a deeper structural difference than most people realize. To some extent, Western individualism
That's
might
what I
not be a
thought.
cultural value we chose, but what happens when you can't marry your cousins for 1,000 years?
Again, I don't think it's the only aspect, but it could be one of the foundational elements, totally.
Guys, I had a blast researching this
Oh,
video,
yeah.
and I hope I was able to help you learn about a topic that too many people only approach with pointy fingers. If you liked it, you also may like this other video I produced. It's why groups of people change their names. And not
Hello noble ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and man, I found a video and I heard it's quite controversial, and you know me, if something is controversial I'm all over it. So the video in question is called Racial Egalitarianism, All Arguments Ranked and Debunked. from basic logic, and as we look at the video description for further information, the West is told that all groups are fundamentally equal in cognitive ability, behavior, and potential. When disparities appear in income, crime, education, and achievements, the explanations are always discrimination or culture. But what if group differences have deeper roots? In this video, I rank and debunk the most popular arguments for blank slate ideology, from race as a social construct and 99.9% genetic similarity to IQ test bias, culture explanation, and environmental determinism, using evidence from twin studies, adoption research, including the Minnesota Transracial Adoption Study, heritability data, and evolutionary biology. We examine why outcomes differ even when environments are equalized. And then there is a disclaimer. I do appreciate the disclaimer. It says this discusses group statistical patterns, not individuals. Exceptions exist in every group. Of course, I mean, that's a good thing to say. Now, obviously, you can immediately figure out why addressing this topic can be controversial to a point where people could be literally terrified to even look at the data, let alone talk about it. Personally, I always say let the data speak. The truth is all that matters. So let's have a look. Let's see what he brings to the table. Without further ado.
The West is racist. That's what mainstream leftism has been saying for decades.
Right.
Why else would there be such great disparities in income, crime rates, etc. between racial groups?
Within the first 10 seconds, I see that the approach is political. Now, when any presentation has a political nature, and doesn't automatically mean that the information is going to be wrong, but there might be a bias, and we have to be cognizant about it.
In their worldview, all racial groups and cultures are equal.
Right.
Therefore, all disparities can only be explained by discrimination.
I think that depends on what left-winger you're talking about, because some of the most radical ones think that white people are inferior. But that's a different situation.
And for just as long, the mainstream right has been counter-arguing that culture explains all disparities.
Aha, I see. So he's interesting. So he's addressing both left-wing and right-wing positions, which he believed to be incorrect based on his data research. Okay, cool.
In their worldview, some racial groups completely randomly adopted cultures that sabotage themselves. For them, culture is the root cause. Any racial group could theoretically adopt a culture that has worked for any other group and improve themselves. And for that reason, all could theoretically assimilate anywhere. Both of these worldviews are nonsensical. Obviously, discrimination isn't the only factor, and culture clearly matters. But just as obvious, a people's culture is not random. It's the product of the people who create and sustain it.
So culture is the product of the people that create and sustain it. Right, but people react to the environment, and the environment oftentimes presents random pressures. So I don't know if he's going to go 100% the genetic route, but I don't want to straw man him, so let's see.
And isn't there a more obvious root cause to consider? That perhaps different groups are innately different and thus have different outcomes, even in the absence of outside forces? When studying group disparities, why don't we examine the groups themselves? You already know why. Because in our modern society, one of the most sacred dogmas is racial egalitarianism.
Right.
The belief that all racial groups are fundamentally the same.
I mean, it is false that all racial groups are fundamentally the same, in as long as we are not talking about individual human value. What I mean by that personally is that I think it's perfectly fine to say that at a physical level and at a biological level, some groups excel at some things and other groups excel at other things because of the outside pressures and forces that have shaped them into the way they are, and because of their history and geography and all the rest, right? I think that's normal to think. The value of a human life remains equal in my eyes. For instance, you take a child of any race, then the value of that innocent human life is equal in the entire spectrum. Okay.
Which is precisely why in this video, I'll be ranking and debunking all arguments for racial egalitarianism, and then putting them on a tier list. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing. It helps the channel. A quick disclaimer. Since this entire debate exists because of the collective disparities between entire groups, we'll therefore be dealing with collective group averages.
Of course.
Therefore, the existence of exceptional individuals of any group isn't relevant, as they are precisely that, exceptions.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of person who accuses other groups collectively when it suits you, but then accuse others of racism if they don't treat members of your group as individuals, you can click off.
Exactly.
Intelligence is not genetically linked. This obviously false statement is a necessary act of mental gymnastics for the purely socioeconomic factors crowd. Because intelligence is heritable, as shown from twin and adoption studies, it's completely within reason to say that certain groups have selected for it more than others. In fact, if you agree with evolution, then you must concede this. How else would humans have evolved intelligence? Some dog breeds are obviously smarter than other dog breeds. The Border Collie and Chihuahua are both the same species, yet differ greatly in intellect and trainability.
Okay, but I think at this point we need to figure out how we define intelligence per se. Because, I mean, one of the areas that you are showing here is the IQ. But IQ is not the best way to represent intelligence for what it is. Because intelligence is a multifaceted aspect that is not entirely described with IQ only. For instance, creative intelligence, analytical intelligence, linguistic intelligence. I mean, oftentimes, if you think about it, we say someone is smart because they know a lot of facts, but that is memory, and it is a completely different space of intelligence. Still, part of it, if you want. I like that he tackled this topic. I very much do, because it pisses me off when people do not want to concede that data is facts. And once facts exist, you can't ignore them. Look at, for example, crime data statistics. Like, nobody cares that you're going to use buzzwords and accuse people of being racist because you don't want us to look at data. No, data exists, it's real, and we need to be adult enough to look at it without, of course, attacking single individuals because of group statistics. In other words, don't include innocents with the guilty, but do be cognizant of real statistics and per capita. But personally, if I had to tackle this, I would first try to define what I mean by intelligence exactly, because it is ambiguous, which makes it easy to manipulate. I'm not saying that he's trying to do that, but let's see, maybe he will expand into this.
Let's see. Should we expect that a Chihuahua would yet differ greatly in intellect and trainability? Should we expect that a Chihuahua would do as well as a Border Collie? Is it purely socioeconomic factors and anti-Chihuahua racism that makes them a minority in working dog roles? NPC tier. Humans are genetically 99.9% identical.
Right.
You share half of your genes with a banana.
Yeah.
90% of your DNA sequence is shared with your cat. Quantitative similarities between genetic content does not equal qualitative differences.
Yeah, but are there really people that use that as a way to say we're all the same? The 99.9% argument, it exists?
That 0.1%
yeah, it's
matters.
Massive, of course.
Did you know that gray wolves are 99.9% identical to domestic dogs?
Right.
In fact, they only diverged from each other about 20 to 30,000 years ago, which is significantly shorter than the divergence between some human groups. But obviously that doesn't mean it's okay to bring a gray wolf to the dog park. If gray wolves on average end up being more aggressive than dogs, solely blaming it on just socioeconomic factors like dog trait disparities seems a little silly. Because remember, aggression, impulse control, personality traits are all also genetically linked.
Right.
NPC here. There is more intragroup variance than intergroup. This claim says that the genetic difference between one randomly selected person in the village and another randomly selected person in the same village is greater than the genetic difference between the average person of one race and the average person of another. Therefore, race is inconsequential. The premise is true, but there's a flaw in this logic. Not all genes are made equal. Most random genetic variance between people doesn't matter, but some specific genes matter so much that practically the entire group adapted to have those genes and are often defined by it. For example, the Duffy negative mutation.
Whoa! What happened?
Oh, dog, you keep fucking leaving.
Fucking Discord is retarded.
Drone activated.
Man, I fucking hate this shit, dude.
Op 4 last stop standing. 15 seconds remaining. 10 seconds. Op 4 eliminated.
Which is found in 95 to 100% of West and Central Africans, makes them immune to malaria. But 0% of those without African blood have it. Or the Tibetans EPAS-1, which allows them to survive in high altitudes where oxygen is reduced by about 40%.
That is so cool, by the way. As I say, yeah, people, yeah, I think when we look at physical differences like this, and maybe even averages in athleticism or that kind of stuff, they don't make us go like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. Oh, not me. I mean, I'm happy to talk about everything, but I think in general, when it comes to why something becomes taboo, it is this over-aggressive competition that is now characterized the racial discourse because of politics these days. That is absolutely insane. It's just anything becomes like, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to say? How about just look at the data and be neutral about it?
Which occurs for them about 90% of the time, but 0% for Africans and Europeans.
Okay.
Or the ABCC11 gene that makes 80 to 95% of East Asians have no sweat odor, but again, practically non-existent elsewhere. This becomes even more complex when it comes to traits that are influenced by multiple genes. We haven't fully isolated the genes that are responsible for intelligence or personality, yet we do know both are genetically linked. And I think we can both agree that social cohesion caused by similarities in intellect and character is vastly more important to survival than odorless sweat.
Well, yeah, of course.
Flop here. Race is a social construct.
Right.
Nowadays, whenever a leftist says X is a social construct, you should just interpret that as code for I have no counter to this observable aspect of reality. It's not an argument, it's just wordplay. What does social construct even mean anymore? Anything that humans have a socialized concept for? By that logic, everything is a social concept. The sun, the earth, molecules, everything is a socialized concept.
It's a little weak, this one. I mean, they piss me off too, okay? They do piss me off when they go into social construct. I mean, they say gender is a social construct, they say race is a social construct. I think they need...
Oh, where's the new map?
But it is
I
a
played it
weak
earlier.
argument on their side, because you could say language is a social construct, but the organs and morphology, the way we create language, is real and physical. But the concept of language could be in the mouth positions.
Dog, it reminds me of the Black Ops 1 DLC map called Hotel.
Setting up a sequential breach. strength.
Swapping to Gemini. If that's how you want it.
Diffuser is active, protected at all costs.
Oh my god, I'm garbage at the game.
4 last stop standing.
It's activated.
Op 4 eliminated.
In fact, the very waves of sound that we produce, we vibrate or not, depending on the sound of vocal cords, all of that exists in physical reality, so that is not a social construct. However, perhaps the idea that I call this a phone, well, that is a social construct, not the phone, but the arbitrary decision that this combination of sounds is what we decide to attribute to the physical concept of phone. I'm just trying to steelman an argument that in general I disagree with, but I'm just trying to be honest with the definition of it. Likewise, the physical aspect of money, so the paper, the banknotes or bills, the coins, all of that is real and physical. That's not a social construct, but the concept of money, the value we give it, that is a social construct. So maybe that's so when we look at race has absolutely a biological and genetic component, but when we divide people into groups, white people, black people, that can be considered partially a social construct because the borders, the boundaries are as arbitrary as it gets. Also considering the immense phenotypic variance within these very groups that we create.
Except, as proven by the fact that I can name them and you know what I'm talking about. The fact that we have a social construct surrounding any aspect of reality does not mean that aspect of reality is made up.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, totally. There is a real biological, physical foundation over which we build upon.
In fact, we build social constructs around real things out of necessity.
Right.
A bis tier. IQ tests are unreliable. For many decades, race egalitarians have had to deal with the world IQ map, which showed interesting patterns between IQ score and identity. Their only rebuttal has been either that IQ is not meaningfully influenced by genetics, which is demonstrably false, and that IQ has issues. I don't contest the latter.
Yeah, because I also say that we have to see how we identify IQ or how we connect it to intelligence specifically. Like what type of intelligence? Someone could be extremely intelligent and not do well at an IQ test because their version of intelligence shines on other aspects.
But that's the best we've got. IQ has issues. I don't contest the latter, but that's the best we've got. IQ is the best predictor of success that we have.
Dude, my fucking Legion mine just fucking hit a drone and bounced
Some
away.
IQ in reality should be used as a predictor of success in Western society, rather than intelligence. Find them. If IQ is a reliable metric,
Great for ambush. EDD prime. Stand clear. EDD mounted. Let them come.
Loading new mag.
Ambush set. Stay clear.
Loading new mag. Loading new mag.
Last
Damn, dog, I haven't played in a while, but I still got it, dog. You saw that, dog?
Fucking happy.
Success in Western society, then naturally those of low IQ
Nice.
will not do well in Western
Fucking piece of
society,
shit.
and therefore we should not be importing them. Nor should we expect low IQ groups to have similar outcomes to high IQ groups, even in the absence of discrimination. Since IQ is so
Let me listen to that one again. So I think now we're talking about immigration.
we should not be importing them. Low IQ will not do well in Western society.
So people with low IQ will not do well in Western society. Well, if you want to look at me, I'm a huge proponent of. I'm very much against illegal immigration, and I think the people that say a borderless state or free flow of people are a bunch of lunatics. With that being said, when we look at well-structured legal immigration within the confines and budgets, for instance, of a country, no overflow, of course, I'm not sure I would use necessarily IQ. I would use IQ for those situations that are necessarily and inherently meritocratic. So if you come into work, but I don't want you because I've got people who are better than you because they have a higher IQ or better curriculum, experience and whatnot, then I would agree. Yeah, don't import low IQ as workforce unless the kind of jobs that they need to do not require a high IQ. I think in that situation we will have to discuss demand and requirement. It's a situational variant, but when it comes to university study, yeah, of course, get students with scholarships, for instance, because they have already proven that they are valuable to our society. But I wouldn't put a ban on low IQ necessarily.
You're on
Unless there is a
Star
reason. So for instance, do
Wars.
background checks of the violent history, yeah, they welcome him, absolutely. Check the freaking social media and see what they say. If I hate America, death to America, you can stay out. But if it's someone who's like getting married, then I don't care if they have high or low IQ. It's whatever. If they're getting married with a local and don't.
You can't fucking do that, dude.
One thing I didn't
You can't
notice.
fucking do that.
One thing I didn't notice about, or I guess didn't know, but this game in the DLC, it incorporates companions from other classes within the game. It's pretty lit.
So, like, there's gonna be like Sith baddies and Jedi baddies.
Oh yeah.
Thing.
Well, I've already run into one of the bald pale baddies from my Imperial Agent class. This one.
Oh, fuck. Dog, she's bald.
Another time. I'm ready.
Another time. Dog, I have 300 million credits. $300 million credits. Ew. Damn, it's a hollow rancor, dog. Have you ever seen it? Whoa.
Dog, it's a fucking robot. It's the Mujahideen. You can't fucking do that, man.
Gary Chrysilison. Whoa. Shatil Shan. Okay, I'll be back. I want to put it on fucking wash. Interrogation droid. Yes. Not sure if I'll tell you. Hold on, where's our sheet? 2 hours. Nice.
Local